Welcome everyone back to another episode of LANCESCURV. Giant Game just got right in the door. Wow. Wow. How are you, my sister? How are you? How are you? This is a topic that I've been wanting to tackle for a long time, a very, very long time. The destructive effects of mass incarceration on Black fathers, families, and communities. Even though many of us, being in the Black community, understand the things that go along with it when you have family members incarcerated. And it doesn't mean that a mother is any less when she's incarcerated. I just wanted to tackle this topic from the standpoint of the father being incarcerated with the mother being left at home, because every situation is different. Yes, April, greetings to you. And if Shaka, wow, I feel honored. Everybody's coming on in. And I might miss people who come in later on, but don't knock me for that. This is I'm going to get into jotting my notes down and different points where the more I dug deep and researched a little bit, I was like, wow, there is a whole lot, and there's a whole lot more. It's not even just what I said. It's bigger points that are more obvious, but there's other things, repercussions that we don't understand, how we're targeted and how we're set up. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I'm just going to start out now because it's a whole lot. It really is. Let me get my trusty mouse over here and get everything straight. But I hope everybody had a good day and is having a good day. I got a chance to rest a little bit, but I was still mad guns, mad guns, mad guns. Yes, forever. Welcome on in, brother. Lancinator here. I'll be back. I was just looking at a documentary on Mike Menser, the bodybuilder. And many people who are not into bodybuilding would not know. Yes, we're going to do that, April. Yes, we are. Yes, I'm glad that you understand. I'm trying to do a little more ascended content where it hits home. And I'm preaching to the choir for most parts, but it's good to be reminded of certain things. And it's not about being negative. It's a matter of spotting the trash around us that needs to be cleaned up. Because really and truly, well, forget about the bodybuilding thing. All I was going to say is that day that Arnold won in 1980, he was high off cocaine. Mike Menser was training before he was on amphetamines. I'm finding out things. I heard these things years ago, but it's like, wow, confirmed. But anyway, that's a bodybuilding thing. Nothing is the way it appears. We see these stars and we think they're so wholesome. Trust me, it's not even that way. But yeah, even today, in several conversations that I had, and I know my voice might go out again because I can't stop talking, but I'm going to get close to the mic right here, which is actually my phone until I troubleshoot my audio module. So I hope the sound is coming through good. But it's tiring. It's tiring. I'm never going to stop doing this because I love who I am. I love my people. And I don't think I'm some lecturer. I don't think I'm some scholar. I'm just walking the walk just like everybody else. Diane, welcome on in. I knew he was going to be there any second now. But it's tiring to see how many of us don't get it. I have to ask the question. I'm just throwing it out there. Are we under a spell? I know we have different backgrounds and different cultures within the global Black family. But with the enemies that we have and the plans that are being executed, can't we see beyond the next step? Can't we see the long-term plan of us that's being executed? And people don't see. I saw, it was a title, it was some show that was going on. And you know how sometimes, I know on my phone, I get alerts from people who I'm subscribed to. And sometimes and oftentimes you don't always get the full title. You see who, made the video, and then you see part of the title. And I'm not going to call this person's name because I know who they are, but the title basically was Europeans or carving up Africa, something to that effect. And there was more to the title. But this particular content creator, they've been doing some shows that let me know it's like almost like an anti-African thing. Like they want to hear the negative parts of being out here, right? But if I even share the negative parts, right, I'm going to tell you why it's negative. And it always points back to our ignorance and or what the colonizer is doing. So when you have and feature content that's negative about Africa, and you make statements that are negative about Africa, along the lines of that lady who came in and was arguing with Queen Nefertiti, and she's an American. She's, yeah, the dirt roads over there. Well, you grew up in the South, and even in the North, you got dirt roads. What are you talking about? Tracy J, I'm gonna shoot you a message after the show. I'm glad to see you here. I know you're coming off the plantation, and you're happy to be where you are in your car driving home. But you make this negative content is slighted. It's not outright, you know what I mean, shrewd, but I'm seeing it. And then you want to talk about Europeans are slicing up Africa for themselves. But here you are as a Black woman talking bad about it, and you're anti-African in what you're saying. And you're a content creator. And you're butthurt. You're butthurt because you believed all the negativity about over here. And what's going on over here in West Africa, I'm not in the other parts, but I try to keep up the best I can. There's a lot of change going on. There's a lot of propaganda. There's a lot of struggle. Political coons, not all of them, but some of them. We have the revolutionaries who are doing the right thing. If you don't want to acknowledge or get down in the battle, stay out of it with your mouth and ignorance. And you can speak on it if you never lived here before. I'm not one who says you have to live here. But just like every one of the ish people that Kanye West had a problem with, at least they try to make it back to that land that's not really theirs. You know what I mean? They still have a solidarity and a unity. You know what I mean? And you're not going to step in on their territory. And I mean their territory, not land only, but also the territory of their unity and what they plan on doing. And we don't have that. So for me, I was like, man, it's like fighting an uphill battle that you can't even get some people to agree on certain things. People are coming at me in the comment section, not as much, but more in the emails, in the WhatsApp messages. People I'm not even connected to. I don't even know who they are. Long notes about the things I've said about Kamala Harris. Right? Are we under a spell? I mean, Kamala Harris gets Megan Thee Stallion to come shake her behind at the event there, whatever it was called at that particular time. It was a Kamala Harris event, right? Democratic, whatever. You have Beyonce, you have Oprah, you have all these so-called celebrities there. And it makes me think back to Malcolm X when he said it's a shame how we take our entertainers as leaders. D.L. Hughley, all of these people. But she can't talk about policies, but you can't question that. Like, are we under a spell? Even if you said you wanted to vote for her, I'm not going to argue with you. Live and let live, but also deal with the consequences of what you voted for. And do not cry. Don't come to me. Now, I don't want my people in America who understand to suffer. But these Kamalaites who they don't want to hear nothing. You better vote for. Why? Oh, you're voting for Trump? I don't even know if I'm going to vote for it all. I can do one of them, ballots where you can mail it in. I don't know. I mean, I'm not voting for her. So there's only one choice. Why can't we vote for her finances? What is she? Oh, and this show is not even about that. And I have to even study up on it now. It's a capital gains thing now. In Canada, and this is what Kamala, I'm going to shut up after this. This is what Kamala Harris is pushing. This thing where, I'm not sure if it's capital gain, but they're doing it in Canada. I might talk more extensively tomorrow in a separate 10 or 15 minute video but I watched several videos and it washed over me. When you sell your home, the federal government will take a great portion of your equity, right? They're not doing it now. But if she comes in and gets that through, that's what they're going to do. So if you have a home that is part of your biggest investment, and you look forward to it if you are downsizing or moving, relocating, and you know you're going to get 100, 200, 300, depending. Everybody's situation is different. They're going to slash it down when you get next to nothing. And there are other taxes that you're going to have to pay too, where you really get next to nothing. And where you go with that to relocate anywhere else, with the price of homes being as they are. But yet because she shucks and jives and she's only a tool for these entities who want to destroy things, and yet Black people can't get a damn thing. And we're not saying, oh, give me, I don't deserve it. It's our birthright. And in actuality, we work hard all our life and somebody can march across the border and get everything, healthcare, money. I'm angry. I can flip it and, well, I'm not over there no more. I ain't gonna worry about that. No, I'm very angry. And I'm even more angry because Black people, some of them, and maybe most of them, not just because they vote for Kamala, want to vote for her, but yes, also too. I'm not gonna hide it. Y'all are damn stupid. And I'm not a political guy to know all the ins and outs. But this one here, I gotta study up a little more on the political game and get into this thing. Not because I want to. I'm not even in the country, but it still affects my retirement check. It's still going to affect my Social Security next April. So why am I not concerned? See, and the fact that many of us don't have the financial literacy. We go on emotion that the government is going to take care of us. Everything's going to be all right. This woman who we see the facade. They did a Jedi mind trick on you, man. She's been saying she's Indian all the while, and now she's Black. What's she going to be next week? Chinese? And folks ain't going to say a damn thing about it. It's like she can't say anything on her own. She's got to get whispered to before she comes out to speak. And the dumbass answers that she gives. And the way they're lining up over in the so-called Middle East, which is a part of Africa. U.S. backing up Israel with all of this stuff going on with Palestine, but they don't have any money for the vets. I don't believe in war, but the vets who, put their time in and risk their life and limb, mental capacity, mental health, they can't do nothing for them. They can't do nothing for the country. Who is talking about doing something for the country? All of those of you are saying is that, he's looking out for big business. Well, if big business is good and little business is good, and my business is good, and they're not letting in people from another country and giving away stuff, well, the hell, give me some. Give me some that I earned. And then all of us have to suffer. And yes, we're all Black people, but in America, yes, we're born in America. We don't get the treatment of Americans, but we're American too. So give us something that you need to give us. We got to really budget and look, and everything we get, whatever we think we get in that check, it's never enough. It's always, I don't mean y'all are destitute. We all got an internet connection, so we got a little bit extra money. It's not hand to mouth, but that has become our entertainment. That has become our satellite dish, our cable. You know what I mean? Like my friend said the other day, and I'll get on with the notes here. The other day, I said, well, what do you have? You have cable? What do you have? A little satellite dish, whatever? He said, no, I just rock through my phone. I just watch everything through my phone. He said, I pay for YouTube premium. I said, well, you were always a guy who loved those big screen TVs. He said, no, I got a regular smartphone a Samsung, and to get the big TV effect, I just hold it closer to my face. Man, I cracked up. Ah, but not enough of us are in. I'm going to start reading off this stuff here. Mass incarceration has been one of the most devastating issues facing Black families and communities in America. While it impacts individuals from all walks of life, its destructive effects on Black men, their families, and the broader community are unique and far-reaching. The prison system, often seen as a solution to crime, is actually a powerful force that perpetuates poverty, disempowerment, and broken families within the Black community. This discussion will delve into the factors that lead Black men to incarceration, the myriad destructive effects it has on families and communities, and the steps that can be taken to avoid the trap of imprisonment, which many of us don't even realize. The root causes of Black male incarceration. Economic disparities. Economic disparities are perhaps the most significant driver of crime within Black communities. Black men are disproportionately affected by unemployment and underemployment, which creates an environment where illegal activities may seem like the only viable option for financial survival. The lack of access to quality education, stable empowerment, and equitable wages exacerbates this issue, leading many Black men into the criminal justice system as a means of monetary elevation. Systemic racism. Systemic racism plays a crucial role in the over-policing and over-incarceration of Black men. From the school to prison pipeline to racial profiling, Black men are more likely to be targeted by law enforcement and receive harsher sentences than their white counterparts for similar offenses. This systemic bias not only leads to higher incarceration rates, but also reinforces the cycle of poverty and disenfranchisement within the Black community. Lack of educational opportunities. Education is a powerful tool for breaking the cycle of poverty, but many Black men grow up in underfunded schools with limited resources. The lack of access to quality education limits opportunities for advancement and creates a sense of hopelessness, driving some to engage in criminal activities as a means of escaping their circumstances. Additionally, the failure of the education system to engage young Black men often results in higher dropout rates, further limiting their future prospects. Family instability. The absence of stable family structures is another factor that contributes to the incarceration of Black men. Growing up in single-parent households or environments where parental figures are absent or incarcerated themselves can lead to behavioral issues and a higher likelihood of engaging in criminal activities. The lack of positive male role models leaves many young Black men without guidance, making them more susceptible to negative influences. Drug addiction and the war on drugs. The war on drugs has disproportionately affected Black communities, leading to the mass incarceration of Black men for nonviolent drug offenses. Substance abuse, often a result of coping with economic and social pressures, drives many Black men into the criminal justice system. The harsh sentencing laws associated with drug offenses have had a devastating impact, particularly on Black families, where men are often incarcerated for long periods for relatively minor offenses. Gang involvement. Gangs offer a sense of belonging and protection in communities where young Black men may feel abandoned or unsafe. However, gang involvement often leads to criminal activities, violence, and ultimately incarceration. The allure of gang life is strong in environments where opportunities are limited. And the absence of positive community structures leaves a void that gangs are quick to fill. Mental health issues. Mental health issues often are exacerbated by the stresses of living in impoverished and marginalized communities, can lead to criminal behavior. Unfortunately, mental health services are often inaccessible or stigmatized within Black communities. I ain't crazy, leading many to self-medicate through drug use or act out in ways that result in incarceration. The criminal justice system is ill-equipped to handle mental health issues, often criminalizing behaviors that are symptoms of deeper psychological problems. Yes, working as a correction officer in a jail and in a prison, I've seen this. A lot of these guys need help, and they will do things sometimes in a disorderly conduct way or act out because they're not getting the help, and they get thrown in jail like they're a criminal. And when they get the medication that they give them there, they act all right. But what got them there is the mental health issue. Hold on one second, yo. I want to open up this window and give it a little crack there so I can not sweat as much. I closed it. I don't know why I closed it. And let me take a sip, y'all. My voice is already kind of beat down. I had like 2 days of resting it, but hold on a second. No juice tonight, just lemon water. I need that. Police brutality and mistrust of law enforcement. The long history of police brutality and racial profiling has created a deep mistrust of law enforcement within the Black communities. This mistrust leads to a lack of cooperation with police, which can escalate situations and result in unnecessary arrests. Additionally, the criminalization of minor offenses, particularly in over-policed Black neighborhoods, contributes to the high incarceration rates of Black men. Lack of community resources. Black communities are often deprived of essential resources, such as community centers, job training programs, and mental health services that could help prevent crime and support rehabilitation. The absence of these resources leaves many Black men without the support they need to overcome the challenges they face, leading them into the criminal justice system. Mass media and stereotypes. The portrayal of Black men as inherently criminal in the media perpetuates negative stereotypes that influence public perception and policy. These stereotypes lead to harsher sentencing, over-policing, and a societal acceptance of the mass incarceration of Black men. The media's role in shaping the narrative around Black men and crime cannot be understated, as it fuels the systemic issues that contribute to their incarceration. Now, we got a longer list over here. I should take a sip before I even... The destructive effects of mass incarceration on Black communities. Family disintegration. The removal of fathers from the home due to incarceration disrupts family structures, leading to single-parent households, which often struggle financially and emotionally. The absence of a father figure can have lasting negative effects on children, including behavioral problems and academic difficulties. Economic hardship. Incarceration often leaves families without a primary breadwinner, leading to increased poverty and financial instability. The loss of income and the added burden of legal fees, bail, and other costs associated with incarceration can plunge family into deeper economic hardship. They can wipe them out. Child development issues. Children of incarcerated parents are more likely to experience emotional and psychological trauma, which can hinder their development. The stigma of having an incarcerated parent can lead to bullying, social isolation, and poor academic performance, perpetuating a cycle of poverty and criminality. You see that? You can find yourself locked up from doing these different things. I mean, you're bullying or you get into the drugs, you don't have a father, you want to sell drugs. Let me tell you something. I said all this to say this. I'll continue with the points. One of the worst things I ever saw, I've seen people get beat down. I've seen people get treated unfairly. I've seen a lot of crooked things in prison and in jail. Co-workers, right? I've seen a lot of crooked things. But one of the things that hit me the most, it hit me the most about the reality of this thing long-term in the Black community, was when I saw, okay, I'm escorting, I hate to say the word inmate, but I was escorting one who was incarcerated from one area to another. On this particular day, I was a movement officer. And I know many people already know because they have families and stuff, but I have to explain for people who don't know. You have your set post, right? All over the jail, all over the prison. But then when you have to move an inmate, again, I hate to say that word, from one area to the next, it may be where he has to see the doctor, he has to see the nurse. So you have to take him from that area and move him to the other area. Depending on the custody level, it may be where they need to be escorted by 2 officers, and they always have to be shackled. They're in the jail, they're in the prison, but they might try to kick you, punch you, and run. They're not going to get anywhere, but that's what happens sometimes. So it's protocol that they must be shackled, even if it's one lower custody inmate, you know, to walk with you, unless it's one of the ones that have, like, maybe they're locked up for suspended license or child support, and they're in an area where they can move freely as they are transported. But other than that, most times you're going to be cuffed up. You're going to have the ankle bracelets on you, you know, depending, okay, because it's a gradual thing. That being said, I'm escorting this. I had like maybe 5 with me because I was a movement officer that day. I didn't have a post. It was my job when called on to go to different areas in my section. If they needed me for a break, you know, because you're not really getting breaks, but if you ordered food and want to go to the front, either you can do it and call me and I'll sit on your post, or I'll go to the front and get it for you. You see? So whoever needed to move, you know, let's see, D4 to SCURV, you know, they would call me that, you know, Officer SCURV. Yeah, okay, boom, you know, oh, I need to park my car. You know, the last shift that had all the spots blocked up, we're here now, we're set. I need to go out there. They wouldn't explain it like that. I'm just saying it this way so you understand. I need to move my car to a closer spot because I hear it's going to rain later. No problem. Sometimes they give me the keys if I knew them. Not really all the time. So I'm walking this guy and 4 others. They're all chained up. There may have been another person with me, right? And I hear banging on the fiberglass of a unit really hard. And so it kind of startled me. And these guys sometimes do that. So you have a day room that in this particular area, there were about 20 cells. Was it 20? No, with this one, it was 4 cells with 8 inmates in it, 32 altogether. So the 4 cells, they're locked down at night, and you have 4 bunks with 8 inmates on it. 1 on the bottom, 1 on the top, 4. But in the daytime, they have an open day room that those cells open, and you can mix with the other ones, play your cards. They have a shower on the side. You can stay inside your cell, but the door's gonna be open. We still do our checks, right? So, oh, boom, 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 boom. So I got startled, but I got angry too. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? He said, man, please, him. I said, who, him? I said, what's up? That's my son. And the dude turned around in shackles and ran to the fiberglass, you know, because you can look at this thick fiberglass from the hallway to inside the the what did I just call it? I'm having a Biden moment, right? to the day room, right? And they wanted to hug so bad. The son, who was a hardened mentality type dude, he broke out crying. And I stopped and I let them have their moment. A lot of guys, come on, we don't have no time for that. I gave him 90 seconds to so he said, wait, where can I write you, man? What you doing? What you in here for? Oh, man, they caught me, man. I had a stolen vehicle and I had a weapon. Oh, you following your daddy's footsteps. And that took away the sentimental pain that I felt when I saw that. So you following your daddy's footsteps and he's almost encouraging you. But there's a camaraderie there, and it was dysfunctional. That affected me. Upscale, welcome on, and I'm just seeing that you came on in. I'm glad you're here. That was weird. It took me through a whole range of feelings. How the father said, oh, you following your daddy's footsteps. Like, this is something wholesome. Unbelievable. And I could tell you so many other things. And I will probably, as these notes are getting, as I'm reading off these notes I put. The next one is community disempowerment. The mass removal of Black men from their communities weakens the social fabric and reduces the community's ability to organize and advocate for itself. The loss of leadership and positive male role models leaves a void that is difficult to fill, leading to further disempowerment and disenfranchisement. Look, I'm not putting the women down, but when you have a community, it has to be balanced. And it does weaken when you're missing men, real men, not just males, not just the males that get out from being incarcerated, right? And they maintain the mentality of being so carnal and hedonistically minded that when they come out, they're looking for the sister that doesn't have a man and she has a little place, Section 8 or not, and he can go chill with her. Well, I got my man, he ain't a man. Not because he was locked up, but because this particular one may not be about anything, right? It's a lot, and people get it all mixed up. When I speak on these things, but this is the trash. I'm not calling the brother the trash. I'm saying the trash that we need to clean up of our dysfunctions and things that are done to us. Next is increased crime rates. The destabilization of families and communities caused by mass incarceration can actually lead to higher crime rates. The absence of fathers and community leaders, combined with the economic strain on families, creates an environment where crime can thrive. Next, intergenerational trauma. The trauma of having a parent or family member incarcerated can be passed down through generations, you see, creating a cycle of dysfunction and criminality. Children of incarcerated parents are more likely to end up in the criminal justice system themselves, perpetuating the cycle of mass incarceration. Erosion of trust in institutions. The disproportionate targeting of Black men by the criminal justice system erodes trust in institutions, including law enforcement, the courts, and even the government. This lack of trust can lead to disengagement from civic life and a reluctance to seek help from institutions that are perceived as hostile. Stigmatization and marginalization. The stigma associated with incarceration can follow individuals for the rest of their lives, making it difficult to find employment, housing, and social acceptance. This marginalization limits opportunities for reintegration and increases the likelihood of recidivism. Because it's like you're marked. These things should be erased if you did your time. Now, if you're a pedophile, no, because you always got that in you in other situations. But you're like a tagged pigeon, And like we said, the social acceptance. Oh man, I heard he robbed a liquor store and shot somebody 25 years ago. Let me take a sip, y'all. Political disenfranchisement. Many incarcerated individuals lose their right to vote, which disproportionately affects Black communities. This political disenfranchisement weakens the community's ability to influence policy and advocate for change, further perpetuating the cycle of mass incarceration. Mental health deterioration. The psychological toll of incarceration can be profound, leading to depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues. The lack of mental health services within prisons means that many incarcerated individuals do not receive the help they need, exacerbating their condition and making reintegration into society more difficult. Let me tell you something, what I found out. Not through research, but a good friend of mine told me about Alzheimer's and dementia and stuff like that. And his father, God rest his soul, recently passed away, transitioned. And he had a bit of that. But it wasn't that bad where he didn't recognize his family. He recognized everybody, but he was very forgetful. And he lived many years, and I was very close to him. I loved him very much. But he told me in his research that those things like the dementia could be hastened, sped up, where if you don't have contact, human contact, it could make it worse. And we know it can be in bloodlines and family, genes, lineage. But if it's in you to get it, let's just say, if you're going to get it and you're going to get it at 92 and you're 75 and you're doing good, but if you don't get around your family, loved ones, and have some type of social contact, it ain't going to be 92. It might be 84. It's the whole theory that they say all of us have cancer in us, but we won't live to see it manifest. And I don't think that's 100% correct. I know a lot of it is environmental and what we consume, right? But going on that, what are the other conditions that bring these other things? It's not always nutrition. The stresses that they feel. And like you said, mental health deterioration. A lot of these guys who don't get into reading or have a stronger mind, it doesn't mean that some of them have a weak mind, but they're broadsided with the conditions that they're dealing with. Okay? If they've never been locked up before, and all of a sudden, they're getting locked up. I mean, if you're not ready for that, let me tell you something. Most people who are walking around out here in the street, if you've never been in a prison or never been in a jail, even the jail is lightweight work. And there's still some heavy things going on in there. It will freak you out. When I first went for a corrections job, they gave a tour and they walked us, not just walk down the aisles and that's it. They walked us in there with those who are incarcerated. And here I am, I'm born and raised in New York City. I've never been a street guy, but I know enough street guys. It didn't get me ready for seeing what I saw. When you really think, and they tell you, in this particular area, they get out this amount of time, and this one, they get out 1 hour a day. 1 hour, just like special management, which I ended up working with. These are the guys who are like so smart. Like, not all of them are smart now, but they can be diabolical. And they about it, but they're smart. If they're gonna try to get you, they study everything about you. When they go for the kill, they're going for it. You can be cool with one of them. I'm not saying you're cool with one of them, but have a healthy respect and distance, and okay, you're not misbehaving, and you're respecting my job. 2 months of that, they might turn around and try to punch you square in your face and knock you out. and then go back normal for the rest of the time. There's a lot of mental health issues there. I know that for a fact. And like I told you before, when I worked in a prison, which you know is long term, what did I hear at night? These guys are more settled in prison because they have longer sentences. For the most part, it's universal across the country where anything a year or less is a misdemeanor. You can stay in the jail because you don't have to go to prison. Prison is a sentence of a year or more, felony. Now, oftentimes, if you have a felony and you're going through the court case while you're in that particular jail, because in that jurisdiction, that county, you have to remain in the jail. So say you're locked up for 8 months and you're going through your trial. You're not in prison yet, but you're housed there. They can't let you free. Maybe you can't make bail money, or they just think that you're a flight risk or whatever. And they don't say it's going to be 8 months. They just say, we're going to keep you here until this case is over. And then now you get sentenced to a year and 2 months or something like that. Or I'm making this up to make the point easy. Well, you already served 8 months. So a year and 2 months, you take the 8 months away, that's 6 months. So they say, okay, you're going to stay here in the jail because you served that time already. You see what I mean? When you get 25 years and up, where you're going to stay there. And usually, but this depends on the state, because I don't know, I'm not a legal guy, right? If the longer your sentence, like wherever you live in that state, take New York, for example, where I'm from, so I know it a little better, or Florida, right? You have a long sentence, they're going to put you far away from that city you came from to make it harder for your family to visit you. They do that on purpose. Now, can they prove that in writing? No. But that's universally accepted. And before as your sentence draws down near, well, I had 25 years to life, and you know, they reduced this and that. Okay, I already served 15 years. I just wanted to be moved closer to where I live. And they may just do that. They might not do it just automatically, but they might just do that. You might want to stay because your boys are there. You get close to these guys. You see, it's a whole, I want to do a conversation on that. And I really want to have some brothers call in that can be more knowledgeable than I as far as what happens in different states, right? But it's heavy. Some may not want to, they're scared to come to the outside world sometime. But most of the time in prison with the longer sentences, what did I hear? In the middle of the night, these tough dudes are sitting here crying, y'all. It's a hurtful thing when you realize. And the repetition, and then the disconnect with some who don't have anybody in the outside world, that means a lot. So for all who might hear this, who are attracted to the title, if you're thinking about you think it's a joke, it's no joke. There's some guys that go there and actually lose their minds. You're not getting any amenities. Or you can get things, you can get the same things that you do in the outside world. Of course, you can get weed, you can get cocaine. If you're connected enough, you can get a woman. You got nurses there, you got COs there, whatever, but it comes for a price. But it's not the same. The overall tension, while not receiving what a man needs. And we're not just talking about sex. We're talking about being part of a family, a community. We all take that for granted. And here we are in the outside world, not talking to each other and hating on each other, the family members hating on each other. When stuff hits the fan, when you involve yourself in criminal activity, worse if you're innocent. Worse if you're innocent. Look at me when I was beat by them 11 cops. All because I know it was a brand new car and they didn't like that. And they lied on me and said that I'm not going to get into it deep because I've told that story a million times, but I never kicked or beat down that little white woman officer. And they called in for other people. And it said you were driving with no insurance, which was a lie. It was a brand new car. You're not going to drive a brand new car off the lot unless you have total, coverage, unless you paid cash and want to take a chance. Right? So I had it. Then they said no insurance, disorderly conduct, that I was mouthing off of them, which I wasn't. I knew how to, de-escalate the situation, but they kept on more. Then assaulting an officer, right? So driving with no insurance, disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, and then assaulting an officer. If I put my hands on that woman that night, which I wouldn't do, I wouldn't put my hands on anybody, male or female, unless I'm defending myself. And they wanted me to do that, right? So what I was told by my lawyer, who was a liar, he was like, listen, because I was free after 3 days after seeing the judge, but my wounds were so bad that they kept me, and they can keep you there a maximum of 3 days. And when they beat you down bad enough, my eyes were closed, my lips were, my face was all messed up, cut up, messed up. So when you see the judge, it doesn't look as bad. So you don't, in the minds of the office, it's like, okay, they can't really come at me with anything. Yes, they can. So my lawyer was saying, which was a paid lawyer, listen, Lance, the way you can articulate, if you get up on the stand, you can beat this thing. But I said, well, what if I don't? There's a lot of political things going on after that cop was killed in my neighborhood. Well, you're going to get at least through a year and a half, but I think it's going to be a little more. Oh, really? And my father was sick at the time, declining health. And I said, I am not going to sit up here and get locked up for that amount of time and can't be with my father. And my mother's with him. And there'll be double stress on her. So what's the alternative? Okay, eventually was take a disorderly conduct, don't get in trouble for a year. I'm not the kind of person to get in that kind of trouble. I said, I'll take that. And after a year, it's erased off of your record. But even still, when you're a good guy, and nothing about, I didn't have no record of anything. The lawyer lied to me. I'm telling you my business. He lied to me. Because when I went for the state corrections job in New York State, they didn't have it where you did the psychological and the background and this, the physical. No, I had to go upstate separately 3 different times. And the last time I went up, they were like, listen, you're from New York City, right? I said, yeah, born and raised. You're rare. I said, what do you mean? They said, you haven't been, in any great trouble. And they knew that of what happened to me in the result. So it wasn't as severe to them as anything else, although the police reports reflected with their lies. But they all know how the game goes, right? So he was like, I don't see any reason why you can't get this job. We're going to contact you soon. So I got the letter. I was so happy. I said, I got the letter. I know I got this thing. Unfortunately, Mr. SCURV, we cannot bring you into our employ with the New York State Corrections Department because, I'm like, because what? As stated below, it was on the next paper. I looked at it, resisting arrest. So my lawyer told me that the disorderly conduct was going to stick on for a year and get expunged as long as I don't get in trouble. I'm like, I'll take that. But he didn't tell me that it was the resisting arrest that stuck on my record. It wasn't going to get taken off because that incident happened in 1989. And here I am in 1994 going for the job. See, and I put in for it before anyway. See, like little states, when you put in for those jobs like that, you get to it quick. But a place like New York City, when you go for a civil service job on any level, the list is going to be long, number one. And you better be in the top percentile, 98, 99, 100% for you to get picked. And once the list might be over after 4 or 5 years, whichever it is, I forgot. So they called me for it. I knew I did well. I was always a reader and a thinker. I was always like, the way I am now, I was like that all my life. That was a blow. Because I went through a lot to go up there and all back and forth, and they put you through it. But yeah, that's how the system can be wicked to anybody black. They'll lie to do little things to you. They have you as a tag pigeon. And there's other things I'm definitely going to talk about, but that kind of made me go off on that tangent, you know? Health problems. The prison environment with its inadequate health care and unsanitary conditions can lead to serious health problems for incarcerated individuals. These health issues often go untreated, resulting in long-term consequences for the individual and their family upon release. Of course, you got prisoners and inmates having sex, having gay sex. Some of them will swear up and down, man, I wasn't like this, man, but you know, I got my little magazine, right? And I look at the magazine with the naked ladies in there, right? But, you know, my cellmate, you know, we take care of each other. So, you know what I'm saying? He hit me off, and hitting him off means oral sex. So because you lying to yourself and saying, well, it ain't gay, because I'm not thinking about, you know, no man. I'm looking at the pictures of the women. They'll say anything. And I'm like, bruh, you in denial. You may not be flaming, but the health problems that come from that. You know, I took these two dudes, well, the whole unit, we took them all out. It was like about maybe 6 officers or something, because the custody level was high. But most times when these guys are in jail, they ain't really fighting. And the movies, they make it seem like it's something every 10 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's getting stabbed, beat, you know, but that's the movie. That's HBO. That's whatever network. You know, you're not going to sit there. Most of the time, you go in there, you sitting down, the whole day goes by, nothing happens. Something might happen once a week or something, not major, unless you're in those maximum security, whatever. And that stuff is locked down so tight. But what gets you is the tension. That's what gets you. And with these health problems and depression and being anxious, and you got a case going on, you got mail, and it gives you bad news, or you find out from a dude that you know in the neighborhood, now he's in your unit, and your girlfriend is cheating on you. Your girlfriend that got pregnant from your best friend. Those things add to the health problems. Miss Tina Sation, greetings, greetings. On that note, let me take a sip. And let me clear my throat. Then there are all kinds of things too. Like in Florida, you know, you have the brown recluse spider. And when it bites you, something is deposited into your skin. And it looks like a little reddish, like a pimple, reddish. It might have a white center. And yeah, that's just a white head with a little red around it. It starts off mild. And you have inmates who, they're in the cells. You know, this is Orlando, Florida. It could be it could be anywhere where it's warm and you got this brown recluse spider. They bite you. The thing gets worse. It gets bigger. The hole gets bigger, and the deterioration of your flesh and how it gets rotten goes deeper. So some of these guys, they may have something on their lower back or to the side on one of their love handles or something, and not know how serious it is. Man, this thing keep itching me, man. It looked worse. And one of the other inmates, yo, man, what you got there, man? That thing is looking bad, man. You better get that's like a brown recluse bite. I had 2 of them, and I had to get medication for it. One was in the car with me, and I remember it. And the funny part about it is, here it is, right? What year? I think it was 2002, early May. I think it was May 3rd, May 9th or May 3rd, 2002. I was working in the jail, but I wasn't in the jail. I was in the car, and something bit me behind my head, right where my neck and my head, you know, intersect, the back of my skull. And I slapped the back of my head. It was a brown recluse bite. It started getting worse and worse and worse, and I took care of it, got the medication. Well, guess what? I think it was a Friday. That's when Spider-Man premiered. I got bit by a spider. I had another one on my leg. They have another one that was bad in the jail I worked in. They call it MRSA. You probably heard of it before. And MRSA is a short name for a long name. And you get it, it's not fatal. I don't think so. Sorry about that. Somebody's trying to call me every time I'm doing a live. You call them back, they never pick up. Yeah, okay. So you get it through touching. This is what, when you're handcuffing somebody to transport them within the jail for any reason, your cuffs, they're sweating, it gets on the cuff, and you touch it, you touch yourself, whatever. I remember I had it all up my side. And I don't remember when I got it, you never do. You just have to keep washing your hands, washing your hands. I didn't use gloves. Nobody around me had gloves, and I ran out of the gloves. Hey, come on, let me just handcuff you and move you out of that area. Then I'll wash my hands. But when I went into the bathroom, something else itched me. So I lifted up my shirt and scratched myself on the side. A few days later, it was all irritated. So the health conditions and the health problems that are there, the guys who have health issues, but they don't speak on it, or you have to find out, or they get it when they're there. They don't tell you the sexual stuff. They do this stuff and they're HIV negative and they come out HIV positive. And then because a person looks healthy, and we know, and we weren't supposed to be told. We're not supposed to know the status of somebody's health. You know what I mean? Until it gets so bad when they end up there's a little area like a hospital in there. And they're in there now. When it gets so bad, you're going to know. But the nurses would hip us to what was going on. They were always cool. Like Lance or a SCURV, I can't tell you who has the monster or not, but you see this little medication here because they shake it in the little cups, little tiny, not Dixie cups, the little tiny cups, like an inch tall and an inch wide, and that's why they hand it to you in your hand. They can't touch the medication. They say, "You see this pill here? You see the name? You see the pill? HIV." So stand here with me as I administer the medicine. So I'm looking, and she shakes it inside the thing. She gives me a look, and I'm seeing who she's giving it to. I'm like, okay, we ain't getting in a fight now. I'm not gonna fight that guy. I mean, like, if you have to subdue him, you have to, but you're gonna take extra precautions because you don't want to break your skin. You just don't even want to be bothered that way. You can be around them, and I've been around a lot of people who were, and I'm okay. You know what I mean? But all kind of stuff can happen to you in there with these people who have issues off the street. You got to understand, they coming off the street. You don't know what they have. It's a cesspool because they don't get the medical attention right away anyway. They get evaluated when they come in, but the result's not there. They're coughing and hacking up mucus, and sorry to be so lewd, and the smells, man, on these people's bodies. Because a lot of times these people are homeless or they have ongoing sicknesses and stuff. And when they come in, if you work in central booking, that area where you're there on the front line, I worked a couple times there overtime. And people are coming in after being intoxicated and they're high on drugs, high. The cops want to just get them over and put them under, let's get this guy over here in the jail. Okay, see ya. They got to do their paperwork too and everything, right? But to experience that en masse, whether you're working in central booking or not, when they come from central booking, and I'm this isn't keeping just to hit people that don't know certain things, right? But even when I didn't work in central booking, I used to work different shifts, but at this particular point, I worked the afternoon shift, B shift, they call it, because it was 3 shifts in this jail. And B shift started at 2:30. But because of my ability to tell jokes and tell stories and make you have fun, they love me. The veterans love me. They were part of the movement, to take you out to the yard, right? So Hey, SCURV, you want to work today? Well, yeah, I'll come in. And already 2 hours went by. I'll give you the full hour, the full 8 hours. Just come on in. I end up getting there in 5 minutes. Don't worry about it. Tell so-and-so about that story when you had to jump out the window naked. That was so funny. So I got close with these guys, and we were going around before we go take them to the yard for it was the rec crew. I'm sorry, I forgot the names, right? The recreation crew. And what they do, or their only job is to go around to the different areas and take those units out to the yard for their hour, right? That was so much fun. Well, anyway, before that started, because I had to be there early, I had to be there 6:30, sometimes later, because they call me at the last minute, because they have to have a certain amount of bodies there as officers legally. If something jumps off and you're not on record for being there, or as a supervisor having 8 officers in this area, 4 officers in that area, you're legally in trouble. You get sued. You can't have it. So we're there, and before we start taking people out to the yard, all the people who were arrested, they don't bring them from central booking to the designated part in the facility. No, they have to wait until a certain time. So you got guys that have not been evaluated all the way yet. They've been locked up. They've been locked up sometimes from all day yesterday. And this is the morning, right, that they moved them because the rec crew has to go through and check them. We don't touch them, but they come in, a whole line of them. They stink, they funky, they smelling, hangovers, whatever. And they come in and they line up. Okay, say for example, there's like 80 of them. When you go in there, right, how many do we have this morning? 125. God, dog, what was there, a sting or something? Yeah, prostitution string. So, whatever. So, sting. So, okay, we're gonna not rushing them, but you have to bring them in and say, okay, we're gonna bring in the next 6. They come in, they take their jumpsuits, they get naked. Okay, hold your nutsack up and cough. All right, turn around, bend over and cough. Spread the cheeks. We ain't touching them. Open up your mouth, tongue to the left, tongue to the right. Hold your tongue up. Make sure they don't have anything in their mouth. Hold your arms up and say, hey, why don't you hold your arms? They might have someone in their arm. Oh, man, they broke. They messed everything up in my arm, and I have a difficult arm, or whatever. It's like, okay, look under there. Well, let me tell you something. The smells in that room. The smells in that room. Gina E., welcome on in. Yes, Landon. Wow. Broke up a fight today, huh? Had to put the mitts. But yeah, I have smelled every kind of smell you want to smell. After getting all of those dudes out of that room, bringing the next bit, feet, ass, balls, breath, underarms. I'm sorry to be so lewd. I got to tell you. And this was every day when I got the overtime in that area. And trust me, they love me so much, they always made sure to give me overtime. Then I had my own daggone shift to go work after that. I used to work 16 hours a day anyway, right? And draw my little pictures and stuff. But let me move on to the next, so we'll talk about that. So we got a long list. Disruption of education. Incarceration often interrupts educational pursuits, making it difficult for individuals to gain the skills and knowledge needed to secure stable employment upon release. This lack of education further limits opportunities for reintegration and increases the likelihood of recidivism. Now, a lot of guys who never really read before, they never really went into school, from young, they just weren't into it. They might have dropped out and just had no interest because of the environment that they're in. You have some guys that when they get locked up, all of a sudden they have an interest. And you have others that if it's not a magazine with either something, they're going to look at pictures and talk about cars. They're not going to really push. And I've seen some guys come in really intelligent but illiterate, intelligent but not educated, right? They just had a natural intelligence and took to the books, never gave anybody any problems. So that could be a place where they change their life around just from them seeing how big the world is through their reading. And you have some guys that just stay stagnant. And this is why they will say jail and prison is crime school. You learn crime if you're a certain type of criminal. And I hate to say even the criminal word, because some people are criminals straight up. It's sad that they walk that path, but some embrace it, love it, and they can't let go. Like a diabetic who can't leave the candy bars alone. You know it's doing you wrong, but you just say, hey, you'll only live once. So, say for example, these are conversations that I've heard for real. Like, okay, you get some white guys that they had a ring where they stole cars, right? And so all knowledge is good knowledge because I'm not going to do any crime. But I've learned so much being there, talking to guys on how they did what they did and what they had to look out for. You know, people say, well, Lance, you're paranoid. No, I know what can happen. Because these people, I've seen guys that stole cars. And there was another guy who might have been a nerd-looking dude, but he was like one of the best car thieves in the county. And he was looked at like a god. And so the lower level white dudes who were doing stuff together, like, oh my God, look, we got to talk. Well, you know, with a Chevy Camaro, this, and that, but it's easier to get a Ford Mustang because of this. Oh, really? Okay. Now they're enhancing each other's skills. It's not everybody. Some off in the corner just depressed or, you know, whatever. But I've seen these type of conversations and how they've combined talents, so to say. After me having a guy break into my room when I was a 17-year-old, when I was sleeping, right? That had me messed up. So I was always interested in talking to the dudes who did home invasions. Like how can they read your house? They can read your house. Your movements are going to be a certain way. So when they do their jobs, as they say it, right? It might be 10, 15 dudes in the ring, 20 dudes in the ring. And they're feeding off of the proceeds of their last home invasion or break-in, right? So that'll last them for months if they get $100,000 or $50,000 and they split it up and they good now for a while. But that time that they're good, they're chilling. They got their car, they have insurance, they got their license, and they're parked down the block from you. And they're watching your house. And they're doing bold things. They know who you creeping with. They know when you leave to work and come on in, okay, yeah, it's time for him to cut that light off because he's getting ready to go to bed. Oh, there you go. Living room light out. See the bedroom light there coming on now. It's going to be on for a little while. And he's going to fall asleep. And we don't know these things. And they watch everything. Don't have your mail pile up. Don't have the newspapers piled up. Have somebody. That's an easy one. But shut up on social media because the dudes who are doing break-ins and home invasions, if they're watching you, they're going to find out. They'll follow you into a Walmart while you're on the phone, talk about how you're going to Hawaii next week and you're going to be there for 3 weeks. And they're holding something they don't intend to buy. But you just gave them the key. They know the layout of your home. And there's other guys watching other homes too. And they already know they got a free ride. You might be on the phone in Walmart and they're behind you and say, you know, my security system and cameras, they're not working right. They've been broken, but I'll wait until I come back. I'm going to take the chance. Ooh, wait. They love it. Ooh, we got an easy one there. I just wanted to explain the mentality, you know, of what's around us. And that's why, like, you ain't reading my house. Like, I can get away a little more out here because of different circumstance. People can still, you know, but it's in me. I don't trust the neighbors around me. Straight up. I don't. They got a wall around this place, bars on the window, and I'm not like a trapped in, oh, look at you, your mind is so messed up, you're not enjoying yourself. No, I enjoy myself. I leave stuff out in the yard that, you know, people would want to steal. They ain't coming in here. but the mentality. And some of these low-level dudes way out in the country, they don't think like the dudes I've been around, even the ones I've known in the street. And I wasn't a street dude, just in the neighborhood, you know? So anyway, next one, recidivism. The challenges faced by formerly incarcerated individuals, including stigma, lack of employment opportunities, and mental health issues often lead to recidivism. The cycle of incarceration and reincarceration, not reincarnation, reincarceration, keeps individuals trapped in the criminal justice system and prevents them from rebuilding their lives. Yes. And a lot of the people that I've known, like low-level dudes, like some low-level guy who's like stealing jewelry and selling on the street, or some guy that just works a job, but he tries to sell weed on the side of the street. Like sometimes things get too hot for them. Like, man, it's gonna be a cold winter. Man, let me just go ahead and break this storefront glass mirror in front of everybody. And they stand there. They stand there and wait to get arrested because they didn't want to steal anything anyway. They know they're going to get so many months in this cold winter. They're going to get something to eat. They're going to get to rest, and they don't mind being locked up. A lot of them say, and they've told me, last man, I ain't getting no woman anyway. And they didn't say woman. They used the P word. So they're like, listen, my life is messed up. I need a little time off. I'm going to do a little something to get me some time up in here. You see? And sometimes the judges will mess them up and give them shorter time when they get released in the winter. Right? You thought you were going to be there all winter. No. So what do? They'll do something in there to catch another charge. They might overdo it and spend the next summer locked up. So you can't count on what is going to happen. Exploitation of labor. Incarcerated individuals are often forced to work for little or no pay, contributing to the economy while receiving none of the benefits. This exploitation perpetuates the cycle of poverty and disempowerment within Black communities that also creates a lot of resentment. Nobody who's locked up expects to get what people on the outside are getting paid. But when you're doing it for next to nothing, that resentment, like, okay, when I get out of here, I'm going to get it. I'm going to put that work in the street, and I'm going to do what I got to do. You got guys who work along with other guys. You got guys who are lone wolves. It's the lone wolves that scare me. You don't know what they're thinking. Pretty much most who do what they do, they have something they specialize in. So just like when you see guys who are locked up and you look over their charges, or with the recidivism, they get released on Friday and come back Monday. Say, man, we just released you. Yeah, man, but I got caught with that thing, man. You know what I'm saying? So because they know what you're known for. They don't rotate crime. If you're known for stealing cars, that's what you do. If you're known for selling drugs, that's what you do. If you're known for being a strong arm enforcer, that's what you do. You got hitmen out there too. You got people out here so desperate that you can have, and I'm talking to the fellas now, that you can have a beef with your girlfriend who broke up with you. You know what I mean? And she'll pay somebody. You threaten her. You don't really mean it because you're not the type of guy, but you were mad and emotional. You don't know who she's related to. She may have a brother who's an undercover hitman. I've seen it. And you threaten her when she's so scared. Oh, he scared you like that? All right. You think the sister got to pay the brother? All of a sudden, she finds out that he's all stabbed to death up in this alleyway. And the garbage pickup found him. The garbage, she went, in this alley with this big dumpster. He's behind it. He was back there for days. You never know. You have a lot of lone wolf people out here who the resentment and things can trigger them off, especially in this climate. Especially in this climate of the country, where things are about to get squeezed up even more, right? And we know for sure that Kamala Harris foolishness is going to jack a lot of people up. Social isolation. The stigma of incarceration can lead to social isolation, as formerly incarcerated individuals are often ostracized by their communities and families. This isolation makes it difficult to build the social networks necessary for reintegration and success. I had a guy who was locked up, I know him very well, in the jail, and he actually lived, his family lived in the subdivision, the apartment complex that I lived in Orlando. And it's funny because he was going to get the job pretty much, but it needed a reference. And he was upfront with them that he was incarcerated for a little while and it had a record. But I got to know him. And he said, man, it would make a big difference. I'm still going to get the job, but it'll be a better feeling if you come up and, you know, speak to them, let them know what kind of person I was in there. You don't have to vouch for anything else, my whole life or anything like that, but just, it would help me out. So I did him one extra. I put on my uniform and I went there, right? I was off that day, but I wanted to give that look. And I went in and I spoke with the guy. I said, listen, I don't know anything about him before that. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to compromise my integrity. But he was a model inmate in there. He was very helpful. He helped to de-escalate a lot of situations, which he did. He didn't have to do. He never gave me a problem. He made this mistake and he really wants this job. And they were very respectful. They were shaking my head. Oh, that's very nice that you come on your day off. You come up here. Yeah. You know, I told him after a while, you know, I just had to go pick up my check and I wanted to wear my uniform, but I don't want to swing by over here. So they knew it was real. And he did good. He did good. He did good. He moved away, but he did good. He had a family, young family coming along and everything. So it's not like everybody who goes through there is bad. You got to watch the ones who never got caught. You know what I mean? You got to watch some of these demons that are scheming on you on a spiritual level. You know, I'm not saying give everybody a pass. Vet everybody. Vet everybody, right? Increased substance abuse. The stress and trauma of incarceration can lead to increased substance abuse, both during and after imprisonment. The lack of access to rehabilitation services means that many individuals leave prison with unresolved substance abuse issues, leading to further criminal behavior. Yeah, that is a stress that you don't get paid for. There's no benefit to it. It's a frustration on top of the frustration that you had to deal with before you got locked up. And it's not a good thing. And all I'm saying is anybody who, you know, wants to be about that life, you might be frustrated and feel your only way out is to do some kind of crime or whatever. You know, if you got 5 or 6 babies at home and you don't have any money for food and you get caught stealing food from the supermarket, I'd give you a slap on the wrist as opposed to the same guy who stole food from the supermarket, but he makes a 6-figure income and he just does this for the thrill. No, I'm going to teach you a lesson now. But don't come back in here because it's going to have to go back. You got to look at the circumstances. The only thing with me that when you deal with many of the guys and women, you know, that they're all innocent. Man, I didn't do what I did. Come on. All the all innocent? Please. The next one, domestic violence. The strain of having a partner incarcerated can lead to increased domestic violence within families. The stress, financial hardship, and emotional turmoil that incarceration brings can create a volatile home environment, leading to further trauma and instability. I don't know what that's like to have someone you're married to or you're dealing with, they get locked up. But I know what it's like through the people that I was around when I was working in jails and prisons. And I've known lots of people who did have a significant other locked up. And it hurts. There's a void. They're there 1 minute and you watch them get taken away in cuffs. And they're gone. You can visit them, you know, you're wondering, are they okay? They watch these movies and see how crazy these places can be. And yes, it can get that way. But 9 times out of 10, jails and prisons are sometimes and oftentimes the most peaceful places until something jumps off. You'll be in there working, sitting down, maybe you did a double shift or you're in the second shift, you're falling asleep. It's peaceful until, but it's also stressful because you know that stuff can jump off any minute. Gotta understand that. It's just like what I heard this morning about Italy and the volcanoes that are there. I didn't know there were so many volcanoes in that area. In whichever way, I'm not a scientist. The message was this volcano can blow any second, and it wasn't fear mongering. There's a big, I can't say movement, but with the media, with the scientists that monitor this activity and the shifting of the land, some people are in denial. And some of the politicians are still encouraging people to build on the coastline of certain areas there, right where things can just wipe you out. And the other faction is like, listen, we need to get people out of here. This thing can blow any minute. It is. And the last time it did, it wiped everything out. And it affected the world. You see what I mean? So with these situations, with losing a loved one to the incarceration system, there's so much tension. Now you got to go to work. You know you don't have enough money for the bills because maybe your mate was working a good job or just a job. You could be making more than him, but what he brought to the table pushed you all over the edge. Things were still tight, but now it makes it tighter. What are you going to do? It's a domino effect. I've known ladies who were strippers, right? And they had it's not every situation, but it was a whole lot. And it was like, I started doing this when my man got locked up. And, my mother never came around to help because she didn't like the fact that he was my man and she didn't like him. And she really don't like him now because he's locked up. But I got my baby. And so, I don't have any other skills. I can't ask for more overtime in Walmart that's going to make a difference because that's going to get taxed too. So I came out here and hit the stripper pole. I'm not used to it, but I got the hang of it now. Nobody knows. A couple of people saw me in here and went back and told my family, but what was y'all doing in here, Pastor? And I get to see a three-dimensional look into people's lives. I've always had those situations. It wasn't just about a jail and a prison. It's always been that way with my life. So that's why I know and enjoy what I do, talking on these shows and this different stuff, because I'll be talking the same way to friends if we didn't have the internet. Call them on the phone. This is what I've always done. Experiences I've had, and the insight that it's given me, because I always look beyond the surface, you see. And for a while there, when I was driving the dollar van in Queens in the 90s, and that was good money. You claim what you want of them taxes. Hey, they can't get me now. I'm in Africa. But I was taking around a lot of those young ladies. There was one that I knew that grew up in my neighborhood, right across the street. I took her to one of the functions in the men's gentlemen's club. I had to wait because it was Jersey. It was cold. And there were other girls that she knew. Oh, come, can we get a ride with your friend? I had the nice van and everything. Chevy Astro hooked up. Sir Lance across the back. Somebody's going to hear this soon, or maybe like years from now. Yo, I used to ride with you. You know what I mean? 50 Cent before they were 50 Cent, the Lost Boys, all different types of people who became celebrities knew my van. I didn't really know these guys. When they got blew up, I said, oh, snap, he used to ride with me. But they gave me an insight into the lives of a lot of these women too. So, domestic violence doesn't just have to come from the person who was incarcerated. He can get incarcerated for passing a bad check or, doing something minor, but he's gone. And that woman is in there. Maybe she let her brother stay there for a little while. Now she want to stab him up because he said something about the boyfriend or husband. It can get complicated. It's like dominoes falling. It's not like, oh, he's just locked up and that's it. Like we said earlier, just like sickness can wipe you out financially. Even if you have benefits, getting locked up, bail money, lawyer money, you got to scramble and get this and get that. You don't want them in there. Oh, bail is set at this, you know, how much thousands of dollars. Although you just have to go to the bail bondsman and pay 10%. But what if it is $250,000? You just have 25,000 sitting around. Some do. Some have to go and refinance their home. I know somebody in my own block where the mother refinanced the home and pulled out the money. And he didn't leave. He didn't cut out on her. But it's stressful. It's stressful. Incarceration severely disrupts family structures, especially when a father is taken away. The absence of a father figure often leads to a weakened familial bonds and a lack of guidance for children, who may then struggle with behavioral issues and academic challenges. The father's role as a provider, protector, and role model is irreplaceable, and his absence creates a void that impacts the family's emotional and financial stability. Now, it doesn't mean to say or minimize the role of the woman. No, we're talking about this one aspect. And maybe within the next couple of weeks, if you all want, we'll talk about what happens when the woman is removed. Because that's traumatic. Very much so. Even I learned a lot about, this is just off the cuff, because we're going to speak about these other things now. Female energy when they're incarcerated, right? It's when you watch the women who are incarcerated, they automatically take on certain roles as a family. You know, I'm not gonna say it's weird, it just says a lot by the female energy. Hardened criminal females, hate to say it that way, but I have to say it, who, when they get locked up and they get along with certain women, other women, you know, and one is like they get the older one who just got locked up and, oh, mama, she's the mama. And some of the wayward girls that were wayward and wild in the street that maybe didn't have a mother, that becomes their mother. Locked up. And they form these bonds. You see what I mean? And the emotional stuff, when the women are locked up by themselves like that, it's like you can see that male energy is needed, just like with the men. You know, the best corrections officers are women. Women who know the power of the female energy. You walk into a cell where there's 4 bunks and eight inmates. You have so much power. And someone think, oh, I'm only 5'2" and 110 pounds. They would throw me around. I've seen female energy at work. See, with men, you go into a unit and you try to play tough to out-tough these dudes, and they're frustrated, you're going to escalate a problem. But I've seen petite females of all sizes, right? But chances are they're not as strong as these guys. But because they have that female energy, and it's not a sex thing now, it's a mothering energy, it's a female energy, it's a sister energy, and they come and say, listen, don't you disrespect me. Now you come down, you get up off of that bunk, or else. But what is the or else? She ain't gonna beat them down. She may have to call other inmates in. But I'm sorry, Officer so-and-so. I'm sorry. Or they see her and straighten up with what they were doing. The woman has more power in the jail and the prison than these guys. Now you have, okay, if there's, let's make another little scenario. As I say these little paragraphs, I'm gonna throw little things in there, right? If there's an inmate that looks like he's gonna go and beat down a female CO, if she has been a person who's done a job, she ain't all lovey-dovey, she's firm and fair. Because when you work as a CO, number one, be firm and be fair. Number two, don't go in there where you're trying to buddy with everybody and then get tough. You can't be tough after that. You got to go in even hard, and you can adjust your hardness, but they have to see the hardness first. They have to see something of them inside of you. You see what I mean? Not that you're a criminal, But you have to have this imagery and throw off this energy that I'm going to talk now. That if you make a wrong move toward me to compromise my health, I'm going to be up in your ass. You hear me? Just from the way you carry yourself. And if you carry yourself that way, you better be ready to get down with it. And then you'll have a better time, easier time. It's like in the jungle or even in the urban streets. You get a stray dog that's hungry, growling, looking at you, most people will run, and that dog is going to chase you and bite you up. But the dog comes at you growling, you turn and look at him and say, I wish you would. Talk to the dog. Make something up to conjure up that energy. It may not be true, but see, you know what? I lost my job today. I caught my woman cheating. They done scammed my bank account through the internet. Man, I don't need no more of this BS. If you're going to do something, you go ahead and do it. But get on out of my face, because you ain't going to do SHIT and turn around and walk and do what you got to do. They can pick up that energy, and people are the same way too. They're the same way too. There's something. Let me see if I read this one already. Okay. Economic strain on families. Okay, did I read that? No, see, I scroll up, I start talking, I lose my place because I wrote a lot of notes down here. Okay. All right. Economic strain on families. The loss of a primary breadwinner due to incarceration plunges families into economic hardship. The single mothers often struggle to provide for their children, leading to reliance on government assistance or engagement in illegal activities to make ends meet. This financial instability can result in housing insecurity, poor nutrition, and limited access to health care. Yeah. When you broke and you barely making it, you're going to see it. Your children going to look malnourished. They're not going to have an interest in going to school. They're hungry. You might have been bringing men into the house. I'm not saying anybody here. And they see what you're doing and they're heartbroken because they know what's going on. These kids are not dumb. Social media, they know what's going on. They know what's going on. It breaks them up in so many different ways. When you know you're about to get evicted, where are you going to go? Homeless families, I've seen them. 1 year, they're nice, everything's going good. Somebody gets locked up, shot and killed with, but let's just for the sake of the show, they get locked up. And so that woman is working some job that doesn't make a lot of money. She got to feed her kids. She know that dude down at the end of the hallway likes him. He comes around and say, hey, listen, I know the situation. Here's a little money. Don't you take that money because he's coming at you later on. There's a price for everything. If you decide to take that money and do what you're going to do, then you better know there's no turning back. Some will, some won't. I've known women that have gone out and stuck people up with guns. Yeah. I'll tell this one real quick. I've told this one before. On my bus, driving from downtown, 3 guys in the back, black men in there, probably early 60s, late 50s, maybe late 40s and early 50s, but they look older, you know, because they were just boozing it and all this stuff. So they're joking, they were friends. And before the 2 guys got off, there was 1 guy left, they were joking. One guy was saying he had to go to Walmart and pick up something for his wife. She was gonna kill him if he didn't come home with it. And they were, man, you better go on and get that stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Regular stuff, you know, dishwasher liquid and, you know, bread and orange juice, something, a couple little things. So there was a young lady before the 2 guys, the buddies got off. She got on, and she had a long, tight, flowing skirt. It was tight down to like the mid-thigh, and it flowed out a little bit. But the body that she had would make grown men cry. I'll say it that way. I'm only telling you what it is. And very small waistline, lean, but very shapely, very, very shapely, very pretty. And she went straight to the back of the bus. And the three guys, there was two sitting next to each other in the back row. And the one guy, the other guy, the third guy, there was a seat between them. She went, and there were other seats, but she went and plopped down right in front of them. And they got quiet. And she's friendly. Hey, fellas, what's going on? Why y'all so quiet now? You know, and they were all laughing and whatever, but it was a strained laugh because they were checking her out hard. So the other two guys got on and they said, man, you better find yourself in that supermarket. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do. You know, that wino drunk laugh, you know, and they think it's something nasty. So I'm driving the bus. I'm like, boy, this is going to be a good one. I'm watching this happen. So the sun was, you know, a little while before it went down. It was a long route, 3-hour round trip. I had like a 30-minute layover at the end. So by the time I came back, it was going to be dark. That didn't matter. He passed Walmart. She was all in his face. He was nervous as heck. She had the hand and the thigh. I think she squeezed him between his legs a couple of times. I knew I caught that. And it changed. The energy changed. So as people were getting off the bus, a lot of them picked up on it too. One guy, hey, SCURV, man, you going to tell me what happened with that back there, right? I said, yeah, man, just you ride the bus tomorrow. I'm going to tell you the whole story. So the last stop was a hospital. Right there on oh God, what is the street? I forgot. Right by the highway. God, I forgot the name of the hospital too. But I did the 21 route with the Lynx Bus Company, private company, but it had federal subsidies, which made it like a city job. It was set up just like a city job, pension and everything like that. So I pulled into the last stop, and they're the only ones there. They all lovey-dovey. She kissed up on his neck. He's feeling her up, feeling her breast. And I'm like, oh, they gonna get off this bus and just get it on out here, right? So they go, and it's like a lake, and in the lake, which is way over there, they got alligators, but they didn't go that far. They just walked off into the darkness. I saw them go behind this, not the dumpster itself, but it was a concrete thing built to keep the dumpster inside, right? So they went behind that, and a lot of bus drivers went behind that thing too on the tree. So I don't know what happened. They were gone. So it was time for my layover to finish. So I'm raising the bus up, slam the doors. All of a sudden, bang, 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 bang. Hey, man, the bus driver, man. It was the dude. I'm like, I thought he left with her. I don't know where they went. He looked like he was in tears. And he was naked. He had a shirt on. The t-shirt that he had, it was a short t-shirt because his belly was hanging from under it, but his pants were gone. His shoes were gone. Everything was gone except the t-shirt that he had. I opened the door. I said, what's up? He started stepping on the bus. I said, hey, man, you can't come on here like this, man. They got cameras and everything. But come on, man. Drop me by my block, man. Drop me by. I said, but you're naked. You know? He said, man, I can't go back to the neighborhood with my ass out. I said, well, go over there by the hospital and get one of them smocks, or maybe you can get something loose, whatever. They'll give it to you. I ain't going over there, man. That's embarrassing. I said, well, look, you stay out here. It's going to be more embarrassing. You know what I mean? He said, if I get one of them smocks, man, it'll turn around, you know, things never come in your ass. My ass will be out. I said, man, your ass is already out. You can't, what happened? Oh, man. Man, you saw that girl, right? I know you had me checking her out. I said, no, I saw her. I wasn't checking her out. I saw her. I saw what was going on. Yeah, man. So, you know, she was holding my hand and said, you know, she wanted to do me. I was like, oh, man, I had no woman ever talk to me like that before, looking good like that. You know, I popped a couple of Viagra's in my life, but I ain't have none with me, boy. But you couldn't tell that I wasn't 18 years old. You know, I was like, oh, for real? I'm laughing because he's got the t-shirt on. A lady stepped past him looking like, you talking to a dude with his ass out and no shoes? And she looked at me funny. I'm like, listen, yeah, I'll tell you. So it's like, yeah, man, you know, I leaned up against the tree. She said that I reminded her of an old man, an old dude she used to mess with, and she had to have me. She said, just put your hands up, you know, and unbuckle your pants and just step out your shoes, you know, because I got a foot fetish and whatnot. So I'm closed my eyes. I'm standing up against the tree. She on her knees. She touching me and jerking me, you know, and I just felt the hot breath of her mouth. I'm not going to get lewd now. All of a sudden, man, I felt a knife on my balls, man. There was a knife on my balls. And she said, don't move. She took his shoes and took his pants. And she flashed what he thought was a gun. Said, you don't move from here. I'm walking away, and you're going to stay here until you can't see me no more. Now, there was a parking lot. That was part of the parking lot, but there's another parking lot on the other side of the street. Wouldn't you know? She's walking. She keeps turning around. He's like, I ain't moving nowhere. And so all of a sudden you hear, whoop, 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 whoop. She had the thing that hit the alarm on a car. She parked at the end knowing she was going to get a poor dude to go follow her. She hopped in the car and drove off. He was so shook and embarrassed, no pants, butt out, everything else hanging. And then he came over to me. And I told him, I can't do it. Man, you got a newspaper over there, man. I put it on my lap and I'll just run down my block. I said, no, somebody complain. That's my job. Unbelievable. So things happen. Things happen. Some women will come out here and they will do whatever they have to do to make money. You understand? So they say the economic strain, especially mothers, they're going to do what they have to do to take care of their children. I'm not saying she was a mother. We don't know. Vet everybody and understand that everything that looks good may not be good. I don't know what happened to homeboy, but he couldn't get on my bus. It's crazy. The psychological impact of having a loved one in prison is profound. Anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder are common among family members, particularly children. The trauma of losing a parent to incarceration can have long-lasting effects on a child's mental and emotional well-being, leading to difficulties in forming healthy relationships and achieving personal goals. A lot of our children in the community, and you may not know them. It's not like it used to be. I know in New York City, in Queens, everybody lived there for a long time. When you left, why are you moving? But we don't have that unity and connectedness anymore. And so because of that, and because of our children just in the smartphones and disconnected anyway, then this happens. The connectedness is very important. And when you lose a parent, see, you get older. For those who get older and believe in a higher power, something happened. Oh God, oh God. But to a child, I want my mommy, I want my daddy. You are God to that child. I mean, they don't think that you created the heavens and the earth and all that in 7 days. I'm just saying, a day of rest or 6 days. But you are God to them. And to have I just looked at the chat room. Tracy J, he was literally ass up that day. No, but when he told me my ass is, if I wear one of those things, my ass is going to be out. I said, man, your ass is already out. And he was ass out. Oh, excuse my language tonight. Hold on, y'all. Let me take a sip. Let's move on to the next one. Increase in single-parent households. Incarceration leads to a significant increase in single-parent households where mothers must bear the burden of raising children alone. This often results in less supervision, more financial strain, and increased pressure on mothers who may be forced to work multiple jobs. The absence of a father figure also impacts the children's sense of identity and self-worth, leading to emotional and behavioral issues. This is a theory of mine. To me, when that child knows the father and the father's around and they get taken away, that's some serious trauma. Now we know there are circumstances beyond the mother's control where she can't be around him. He might be abusing her or abusing the children or living a life that she doesn't want. And all of a sudden it's like, listen, these dangerous people around you, he's want to kill him. And, no, I can't do that type thing, right? Whatever reason, it may not be incarceration, but now the father is not there. To me, it's just best for there to be no man there than to face the loss of a father that you've attached yourself. You know what I mean? It's better when you have both. We understand that. But to have, you can handle it as a grown person. But to me, if they never knew their father or there was just never a man there, they're not going to go through that. They will yearn for the male energy, of course. They'll yearn for a father. But to have it ripped away at a young age, that is, that's hard. And we know how children can be when they're in school, you see, teasing you. And, sometimes the PTA meetings come around, you see both parents show up and you're like, I don't have a father. Look, to have one and have it taken away like that, to me, that's traumatic. Because you're gonna know where he is. You're gonna overhear that conversation that your mother's whispering to on the phone at night. Oh my God, my daddy's in prison. And she might lie and say that he's out of state working. He's gonna be there for a few months. And something's not right with that situation. Right? The rise in substance abuse. The trauma of incarceration within a family can lead to substance abuse as a coping mechanism. Both the incarcerated individual and their family members may turn to drugs or alcohol to numb the pain, leading to addiction and further criminal behavior. Substance abuse exacerbates the cycle of poverty and crime, creating a destructive pattern that is difficult to break. What can I say about that? We see it all the time in our communities. And all of these things that I'm speaking about can be attributed, other communities are going to deal with that, all races, all whatever. But we already have enough stress on us. I'm not claiming that, but whatever your stress levels are, there may be a counterpart in another community where they don't have it as much. Because we have family members, we have people, we concern ourselves about them. Even if they're not people who do crime. You have daughters, you have sons, and they're out there in the world. There are people who do crime and you don't want them to be a victim. Could you imagine how many people call back to their parents, even if they don't live with them? They grown, Ma, I got stuck up. Ma, I got shot in the leg. Or they took my money. Or they get a call from the doctor, the hospital, the police. Your son has been this. Your daughter has been this. It's okay. And sometimes it's not okay. There's a part of you out there. You still have to feel that stress. Come on now. You know that you may have a son or daughter that likes to go to nightclubs. And you haven't talked to them in 2 days, but they like to go to this particular nightclub and you hear there was a shootout in there. The first thing you want to do is call your folks to find out if they're okay. No, I'm home. I went to sleep early. I was thinking about going, but I didn't go. Really? That's what happened? When I used to drive the 40 route in Orlando, it went past the, I keep forgetting it, but they had the big shootout where the guy killed all these people in there. It was a gay club. I used to drive, when I did that 40 route, that was my break route. I did the 21, I knew everybody on there, knew all their stops, knew all about them. There's some people I didn't talk to, but it was like one big happy family. But after maybe like a year and a half, when the new bid came up for 4 months, I'd get off of that route. There's stalkers out there too. They like you, females and sometimes males. Say, well, gotta take a break from this route. You know what I mean? So this guy that I talked to ended up being one of the security guys that night that they had the guy that shot everybody up. And he actually came there early, the shooter, right? And in the comment section, or even now, comment section or the chat room, if you can get the names or whatever, but whatever. Tatum, how are you? I'm just seeing you. So he was telling me about the shootout. And he showed me, lifted up his shirt, he got grazed with one of the bullets. He also told me, like, he told me some other spooky stories. I'll say that for another day. Why I'm bringing this up is because the stress of having a young adult, you know, as a son or a daughter, or somebody, even if they're, you know, even if you're older, you know, you're concerned for them. You don't want to get that phone call. But one of the things that stuck in my head, what he was telling me, because they barricaded everybody in, you know, and all he could remember from where he was hiding, that phones were going off. Dead bodies were on the dance floor. This is what he told me. This was the truth, right there. Dead bodies on the dance floor, some of them alive, under some of the dead bodies. The dance floor was slightly slanted, slightly, you couldn't tell, toward drains. Like there was a drain in the middle of the dance floor, but it was so slightly, you know, but all this blood was pooling and coming down to the drain. And all he can see was the blood and how it shined on the dance floor, right? And the reflection of the blood on the dance floor that was already shiny was all of these cell phones ringing. All the ringtones you want to hear ringing. Because after a while, this was something ongoing. It didn't just happen and stop. It was already breaking news, and, you know, family members knew that they got a gay family member who went to this club. And they're ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing. It was deafening. It says his phone's just ringing. And for a while, it was a dead silence. I mean, that's that. So these things can happen. It's real. And so for me to get away from those atmospheres, because I've seen so much just being out there in the street, driving the bus, working in the jail, going to New York City, all kind of dead people you see, just all kind of people's skulls smashed in from cars running over them. Just, I was paid to be in the street. I went from one extreme to the next. I was working in the jail a couple of years, did some time out of state in a prison. Now I'm driving a bus, seeing the people who are locked up that do crime over and over, seeing them do their thing. And sometimes they're cleaned up. I'm not going to say it was too much. I could handle it. But you don't always want to have to see something. You know what I mean? I can tell you some stories. Disruption of community cohesion. High incarceration rates in Black communities erode community cohesion. As more men are in prison, communities lose their leaders, role models, and protectors. This loss weakens the social fabric of neighborhoods, making them more vulnerable to crime, poverty, and disintegration. The community's ability to support its members is severely compromised, leading to a breakdown in collective resilience. Have you ever moved away from a neighborhood, possibly one where you were younger, and you go back, and usually this is like, maybe like in an urban situation, and the old stores that were owned by people that you knew, or the neighbors that were always there, a lot of them are gone. Like kind of quick. It's not like you stayed away for 40 years and went. But it's somehow, when a neighborhood breaks down and you're still living there, you don't feel it until you realize it's really gone. But to go for a little time and then come back, you know, and it was great change. It's something. My friends in New York, but I had a friend of mine who moved to New Jersey, and he came back around. He didn't tell me. It's our mutual friend in our little WhatsApp chat group. He said, yeah, he went back. He went by your house or by my house. And you know, there's an apartment building across the street in that little lot. That little lot there, apartment building. Like, it's never the same. But it's sad when it happens up under your feet while you live there and see how things disintegrate. Look, where I grew up, for the time, we moved out to Queens in 1968. I was born in 63. So Queens was like country. To the folks in Harlem and in Washington Heights where we came from, my father had his shop and his business there. Oh man, you moving out to the country. Imagine that. Shoot, Queens is the city. You know, in essence, now it has been that way. But to think, and then now what they tell me was there, I don't have no feeling to go back to the neighborhood. First of all, 85% of people that I've known, 90% they gone. It's not the same. I just keep in contact with the people who grew up there, and we have our own cherished memories, but it's not the same anymore. And we had a chance to keep it, but crack wiped out a whole generation and turned that beautiful neighborhood that I know, wholesome times, beautiful times. I had a wonderful childhood, except for my brother on the drugs, like y'all know. He wasn't there. My father wasn't allowed to be there. But other than that, shoot, I got a doggy bag of childhood memories that can last for 10 lifetimes. Seriously. And community is a very important thing for a child's upbringing and psyche, to have a stable community that will follow them in their heart for the rest of their life. Right? Next one. Exploitation of vulnerable populations. The prison industrial complex thrives on the exploitation of vulnerable populations, particularly Black men. The system benefits financially from high incarceration rates, creating a perverse incentive to imprison more people, often for minor offenses. This exploitation extends to families who are burdened with legal fees, court costs, and the high cost of maintaining contact with their incarcerated loved ones. Vulnerable populations. I never heard that before until I did a little research, and I said, man, that's what we are most of the time. Even when we have a good job and live on the fringe or maybe a bad neighborhood, it's like we're still vulnerable. No matter where we are, we are looked at a certain way. See? And like what was told to me before, and I have to say this, and I'm quite sure it's like this all over the country, that the majority, 80-something to 90-something% of all of the prisons in upstate New York, there's a whole lot of them, because they benefit the little hick town places up there. All of a sudden, when you have a prison in a rural area, now there's money coming in. Because you may drive through a rural area and say, oh, the country's so nice, I'd love to live up there. You better be getting a retirement check, because you're not making no money up there unless you farming or doing something, and you can't count on that. When that prison comes into that rural community, country, upstate New York, that's what it is mostly. All of a sudden, there's a hotel that's built by the prison for the people coming to visit. They can come there the night before. There's several restaurants open up 24 hours, right? You have other supermarkets that are there. You might even have a bar. Maybe somebody comes to visit their family member and wants to go out for a drink. So now you have one of the daughters, she's working in the prison. One of the sons, one of the older, maybe the grandfather gets a minor position in there, right? So everybody's eating good, living good because of the prison. So they want more prisons. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. That 90-something% of all, look at a map of New York State, as big as it is, all the way to Buffalo, touching Ohio, on top of Pennsylvania, going all the way up to Canada, and all the other states on the other side. Huge. I mean, you have Utica, you have Albany, Schenectady, you have all these, your Buffalo way on the side, cold as heck. But the bottom line is now you're bringing commerce, and the generator to fill those prisons are 5 neighborhoods in New York City. Not just 5. You got people up there getting locked up too. But they have to keep the conditions, and it's not the same. They, out of the top 10 neighborhoods that produce the most prisoners to go up and populate these prisons, I know Harlem was one of them. Bed-Stuy was one of them. Brownsville, Brooklyn was one of them. Jamaica, Queens was one of them. You see what I mean? So the top 5 this year, 1 or 2 may fall off and 2 others take over because it's more than just 5. But the Black neighborhoods, Latino neighborhoods, minority neighborhoods, they keep the conditions a certain way to lock your ass up. And it's the purpose of doing this show, so you can see it doesn't have to be New York. That's my experience. See? So it is what it is. But if more people understood how they're railroaded and exploited by their own weaknesses, because we got to get that money. We got to get that money. Not realizing that's a temporary solution to a financially poor situation. And you're going to play right into it, and the system is going to get that money. Because how are the police going to stay in their positions, and the judges and the lawyers and the bail bondsmen and all of this that sucks away from our bad choices, right? Intergenerational trauma. The trauma of incarceration is not limited to the individual, but extends to future generations. The children and grandchildren of incarcerated individuals often inherit the emotional scars, leading to the perpetration of negative behaviors and attitudes. This intergenerational trauma contributes to the ongoing cycle of poverty, criminality, and incarceration within Black communities. You have a favorite uncle. As a child, you don't know what he did. You just know he's a favorite. He was bringing you candy, giving you money, and telling jokes. Everybody loves him. But you didn't realize that this guy had a criminal streak in him. And you realize that he's getting locked up and he comes out. He's still the same nice uncle to you, but you start to adopt his attitudes toward the police and law enforcement if it is a negative thing. You see what I mean? So this is what we mean by that. You love your uncle so much, you side with him. You know, it could be your father, it could be your brother, it could be somebody's mama. And you overhear them talking against the system, and there's a proper way to go against the system. But don't get mad when you get caught. You see what I mean? That's part of the game. You're going to paint everybody as evil. Like I said, many of my great friends, and I don't want to sound like some white person saying, oh, my best friends are Black. Some of my best friends. But many of my good friends growing up are decent human beings, and they wouldn't allow certain things to go on their watch when they were police officers before they retired. And they saw some things too. But not these gross injustices like that, but within the police, you know, they tell me things. So we have these attitudes. And they're being called whatever because they're in uniform. I mean, heck, I was in uniform as a CO. They didn't like me at first. Oh, man, you sellout, you part of the system. No, I'm trying to feed my family. And when they saw how I moved, then the respect came. I let them know I can just as easily be out of this uniform and into a jumpsuit. The system don't love me. And I'm not here to torture you, harass you, look down on you. When they saw how I got down, I got a lot of respect. And the system there did not like me for that. They don't like that. When you share your light to try to even change their mind on how they see things. They want the system to keep on going. The system is not there to change you. It's not there to rehabilitate your mind and your thinking. And when they see somebody in there doing that, oh no, you going against the program. You're supposed to look at your brother like an inmate. Hey, inmate. You're supposed to do jacked up things when you passing a little tray, a little styrofoam tray of food. They're locked up in a real tight place, and you got to pass it through the bean hole and just shove it so all the rice and all the food and everything hits the ground, and they got to eat it off the ground, man. There's some dudes I knew that always kept like paper newspaper, something on the ground right on their side of the beanhole. So when a prick officer comes by, yeah, I said it. Here's some guys that got off on that, and it's not right. They would fall in a clean newspaper and eat off the floor. So here I come new. They think I'm going to be that way until they see I'm not that way. I can be jacked up too if you come at me that way. In the twinkling of an eye, I can flip. But once you try to be fair, you're all right. Barriers to re-entry. Upon release, formerly incarcerated individuals face significant barriers to re-entry into society. Finding employment, securing housing, and rebuilding relationships are often insurmountable challenges due to the stigma of a criminal record. This lack of opportunities often drives individuals back into criminal activity, leading to a vicious cycle of re-incarceration. Yes, yes. The big O. I'm not calling you big. I'm always jacking up your name, so I'm just going to say the big O because it's a capital O. Yeah. You see that? What you said was true. I got to start putting some of these comments on the thing. I'm way old. Forgive me. I'll start doing it right up. Yeah, you're right, Diane. And this is what she says. Some guards can be affected mentally by working as a prison guard. I had a friend who shot himself in the head. He worked as a guard in a prison for many years. You have got to be spiritually grounded. It don't mean you have to be somebody into religion, which doesn't mean you're on a spiritual level. You have to have a deeper understanding. I brought my light where I worked. I became the visit of many guys that were there. I always had something good to say, a joke, or I saw that you were feeling bad because your grandma was sick or something. And we talk. I talked. I never closed the doors between me and the day. When I came in there, for the most part, unless I had to go to the bathroom. You know, a lot of times I go into an empty cell and go to the bathroom. Too much information. And I'm drawing pictures for their little envelopes to their grandmama, or they just had a child that was born. And I used to write love letters. I used to write love letters for some of the inmates. But I couldn't do it too, you know, if they had a junior high school level, you know, education, there's certain words I couldn't use. And I'd write the letters and I'd let them write it in their own handwriting. I did something, it passed the time by. Yo, man, my girl, I think she's gonna leave me in the SCURV, man. I know you're good with them words, man. Could you help get my girl back? I'm like, listen, I'm not promising you anything. Listen, I'm consulting with you now, right? See, so I had value to some of these guys. You see what I mean? I had value to them. You'll talk to SCURV, man. He'll put a good word in your head. So hey, listen, I'm not just gonna write a letter and I don't know what's going on. Did you ever cheat on her, man? Yeah, but she never knew. All right, okay. That's wrong, but you sure she don't know? So what happened, man? Well, you know, I knew I was gonna get locked up, and I kind of cussed her out before, and she's out hurting. She missed me and everything, but I don't know. She said she can't really ride with me for the next 7 years. I said she can, man. But this is what you gotta understand. I find out that maybe he didn't have many female relationships, or maybe his mother wasn't. You know, a lot of guys, their mothers was on drugs and couldn't, you know. So you got to find out the gaps and fill them in, and know how to approach it. Say, okay, we gonna write this letter, right? And just to see that somebody took an interest in that, beyond I'm giving you food. Come on, the nurse is here. Your lawyer's here. I got to escort you out. Hey, what are you doing? Close the door. Oh, you okay? And another little trick they used to do. If you had like a 2-man cell, you had the top bunk and the bottom bunk. The bottom bunk would be covered because the top bunk, the dude up there, he would take his cover, his blanket, and tuck it in on the top bunk between the, I can't say mattress, it's that little flat, they call it mattress, but it's like the little daycare things they have the kids laying on, right? Real thin. tuck it between there and the actual metal on the top bunk, and it would hang down like a curtain because they ended getting busy. You'd see that. You see a lot of that. I saw a lot. But it didn't, I don't know, my personality, my way I think of things, and I didn't see a lot already, so that didn't really bother me, those things. But I would talk to people, get into their head, and find out. And you just can't be that rigid person because you're going to break. And like you said, Diane, dude who shot himself in the head. That is look, there's a lot of bad spiritual energy in these places. A lot of negativity, a lot of doom, and a lot of gloom. You see what I mean? So you have to really, really understand what's going on there. If you have family in there, you know, and that's on both sides. Because really the COs are soaking up that energy. If I don't smoke and I go into a nightclub where everybody's smoking, then what am I going to smell like when I come home? Smoke. Now my wife might know that I don't smoke because I used to bounce in a nightclub after work several times a week. And I come home smelling like cigarette smoke. She know I don't smoke. You see what I mean? And that's my ex-wife at that time. But you're gonna soak up things. And if you have openings, portals open spiritually where things can get in, energies can get in and become a part of you, that becomes a part of your reality, that you'll soak up things that you didn't go in there with over time. So you have to know where to draw the line, right? Disenfranchisement and loss of political power. Incarceration often leads to disenfranchisement, stripping individuals of their right to vote and participate in the political process. This loss of political power affects not only the individual, but the entire community, reducing its ability to advocate for change and challenge policies that contribute to mass incarceration. This systemic disenfranchisement of Black men weakens the collective voice of the Black community, perpetuating social and economic inequality. Yep. Let me see how much, because I ain't quitting yet. Let me see how long. Whoa. Okay. Wait a second. Whoa, it's like I'm falling on the side of a building. Listen, I gotta run to the restroom real quick. I'll take a break. Let me put this right back in the place where I had it. Because like I said, this is a long one. I've already been there for 2 hours and 13 minutes. I have no problem vibing with my family here. But nature's calling. Okay, I'm at a good spot. Let me throw on a song, and I shall return. Stuff you never heard before. I'll be back, y'all.
Globetrotter, so shocker, I keep it in the chrome locker. Don't rocker, I counter it with no offer. I don't wanna, I'm too busy, so chocker. Call me Mr. Roadblocker. I make a whole number turn to an eighth. Learn from mistakes, got the whole world on my plate. Nothing worse than my fate. Say your words get burnt on a stake. Took a turn for the cake, so we turn and we say, always had the power, open up from deep within. There's something that empowers me to draw a line under my sins. I never understood why there was such a way to live, and I'm stuck against a wall that keeps defining me as him. I'm painting never-ending canvases while I wrap them up in bandages and coexisting while ending what my anger is. Paying for no damages, I'm speaking universal languages. Out here, always seem to see the light. Never meant to be the vibe, but severed every reason why. Freedom got me talking all this peace and light, but wouldn't think twice to give a beating to an evil guy. Cause I'm worked up and worked out. I've served up and swerved down. Try turn up, not turn round. Keep that vibe up and serve sound. Rise up and burn down.
Finding the finish line, sky is the limit, I'm right in the minutes. Grind with the realest, I'm climbing the illest, find time to come with it. Finding the finish line, sky is the limit, I'm right in the minutes. Grind with the realest, I'm climbing the illest, find time to come with it.
Shit. A go-getting headbanger. You best go get your best hammer. I'm getting dough, let the rest hang up. Catch me rolling in the 10 manner as I'm rolling up a king banner. It's like I saw it as it happened. It's like I'm orbiting round Saturn. I saw my chance and made a run for the light under the skies where we form an orderly fashion. Tried to take a course without crashing. Someone put some sauce in the wagon. Feeling slightly more debauched, racking rails of this flake, but I guess they say it's all about balance. Or whatever helps you sleep at night. I got that chem dog creeping through the reefer pipe. Is this the end of being in the deeper side? It all depends on the people and their feelings, right? Burnt out, too much working on the other side. Trying to be upper guys, but never let it slide. Turns out I'm a demon in disguise. Acting like you never seen it in my eyes. Not a lot to say, but got a lot of reason to be nice. So lock it off today and drop it off from evening into night. I got a proper way of speaking from my mind, and I won't stop today, been peaking all my life.
Finding the finish line, sky is the limit, I'm right in the minutes. Grind with the realest, I'm climbing the illest, find time to come with it. Finding the finish line, sky is the limit, I'm right in the minutes. Grind with the realest, I'm climbing the illest, find time to come with it.
All right, y'all. Perfect timing. Thank you for having patience. The human body works like that sometimes. Yes, indeed. Let me see. Okay, I know where I am. Okay, here we go. Increased crime rates. Let me know if I read that. I'm having a Biden moment. There's a lot that I put down here, y'all. The removal of fathers and role models from communities contribute to increased crime rates. Without positive male influences, young men may turn to gangs, drug dealing, and other criminal activities as a means of survival or a way to gain respect. The increase in crime further destabilizes communities, making them less safe and more prone to violence. It does something. That goes without saying. Here's a good one. Loss of cultural heritage and identity. High incarceration rates among Black men lead to a loss of cultural heritage and identity within communities. As fathers are taken away, the transmission of cultural values, traditions, and history is interrupted. This loss of cultural continuity weakens the community's sense of identity and belonging, contributing to a disconnection from roots and heritage. See, a lot of us don't realize that. We got to spend time with our families. And this goes for the mothers too. Like I said, for those who are just coming in, this is not dismissing mothers. But when we have this show about mothers, don't say I'm dismissing the fathers. I like to go through with surgical precision on every topic that I talk about. So you'll see similar titles, but when you really dig into it, you realize I'm dealing with a different aspect. See, in the medical field, you know, a doctor is not just a doctor. You got to have a guy who's a foot doctor, a foot specialist, and he just can't go in. Oh, we don't have a heart specialist. We're about to do open heart surgery. Call the foot doctor in. You can't. Each part is very important to the human body. You have to have a specialist deal with it. I'm not a specialist, but I like to embellish things and go in with detail, just like my artwork. I have to go in with detail. I'm a detail-oriented person. I look at the little things. So even that, how many of us think about that? The loss of cultural heritage and identity. We might know it when they go away and get locked up, but seeing it in action from our fathers. I didn't grow up in Jamaica. My father did. But I've learned so much about it from being through him, being with him, and through him, you see? So, you know, he's old school. Again, I'll say he's not one of these clown Jamaicans, you know? He was born in 1916, so Go figure. You know what I mean? You know, it's a whole different world. Integrity, work ethic is a real man. I would die if I had one of these young bomba clad. No, I don't want to be bothered with that. And I don't even want to be bothered with that type even now. You can't carry yourself as a man with dignity, not some punk who just wants to, no way. Financial exploitation by the justice system. The criminal justice system often exploits incarcerated individuals and their families through exorbitant fines, fees, and the cost of maintaining contact with loved ones in prison. This financial exploitation deepens poverty and makes it even harder for families to survive, let alone thrive. The system's predatory practices further entrench economic disparities within Black communities. Come on, y'all. For those who know, you get that phone call. Who's paying for it? You. I've heard families, people, don't call me so much. Call me next Sunday at 2 o'clock after we get out the service. But don't call me every day. It's hard paying that phone bill. See? And they're just making money. These private companies are making all this money from people getting locked up. It's a slave ship on land. And we don't realize it. But for people who say, it ain't hurting me, because I ain't got nobody locked up, well, you know what? It's hurting all of us. Somebody may come out and do something to you and you're innocent. You can't say that. Either side is going to touch you. Hopefully not. But chances are, sooner or later, somebody's going to commit a crime, or, you being a victim, or somebody in your family is going to have to deal. Maybe a distant cousin, but somebody. It was like crack. In my beautiful neighborhood, growing up, there's not a household that crack didn't touch. No, I'm not saying everybody used crack. A lot of them did. But also a lot of them got stuff stolen from their house. Crack did that, right? A lot of people creeping, smoking crack. I'm going to do a show just on my radio scanner where I used to hear the cordless telephone calls in the block. Oh, yeah, my husband's gone. He's working a double tonight. Come on over, baby. Let's get this in real quick. You gonna bring that thing, right? Yeah, I got it now. Come on, baby, I'll hit you off. Crazy. Like I said, my eyes have seen too much. Normalization of criminal behavior. In communities where incarceration is common, criminal behavior can become normalized. This normalization leads to desensitization to crime and violence, making it harder to break the cycle of criminality. Children who grow up in environments where incarceration is prevalent may see criminal behavior as an inevitable part of life, further perpetuating the cycle. It's normalized for them. And they love their fathers. And just like the son who the father saw him in the hallway and, you just following it. That was sick. That blew my mind when I heard that. The son didn't see the father for so many years and they see each other in jail. And the father, oh really, you stealing cars, you followed in your father's foot. It had to have an effect. It's not even a shame thing no more. If your father's a big drug kingpin, he the biggest drug kingpin, what you think you're going to do when you get older? You admiring this. It's twisted. Twisted. Let me finish chewing this pineapple chunk, y'all. Something that I needed. Mental health issues among the incarcerated. Incarceration also often exacerbates existing mental health issues or leads to the development of new ones. The harsh conditions of prison, including isolation, violence, and lack of mental health services, can lead to severe psychological trauma. Upon release, these untreated mental health issues can make it difficult for individuals to reintegrate into society, leading to recidivism. You'll get touched, possibly. To some, it's just another day. To some, I've seen them get locked up and they're so happy. You see dudes running out of their cell. I mean, during the time of the day room is open like that. My man, oh man, yo, SCURV, you can put him in with me, man. Take this other knucklehead that I got in me, man. He in there jerking off all day and singing songs. Yo, this is my man right here. You got to hear it. You got to see it. And the trauma. You see somebody coming, they don't know. There was a dude. He did the crime when he was 17. He killed some people. And the funny thing about it is he had an innocence about him. And he was one of the guys at the time of oh God, what's the hurricane? Louisiana. Oh God, I'm forgetting. I'm having a Biden moment. No, I'm not. But yeah, when they were moved from that part, right? And some came to Florida, some went to Texas, some went here. So a lot of people were joking and saying, man, they spreading the hood all over the country. But he was part of that. And he was a happy-go-lucky acting guy, even though he did this to the people. Because all along, he believed that in the case, because he wasn't the only one involved, that he felt he had the less involvement, you know, but his buddies who were doing this thing with him, I don't know how it went down. They killed some shop owner or something, and his wife, and took stuff, whatever. They turned on him and made it seem like he had more responsibility in this thing than he did. So when he was going to his case, the final court, you know, when he was going to find out what he was going to get. So I saw him, SCURV, man, wish me well, but I know I'm all right. My mama been praying for me and everything. I'll be all right. I'm telling you, man, I'm going to be up there with you, man. Yeah, man, we going to hang. Okay. They had him the next day, because we only had so much time there. They had him up in the psych unit, the psych floor. He was naked and no clothes, and see up there, when you're locked away that way, it's behind a fiberglass cell, it's padded, and you're naked. You can't have clothes on. And they're going to watch you do 15-minute, checks on you. And it's like a big circle, so you can sit at your post and look at everybody the same way, because you don't want you to commit suicide, cut yourself, or whatever. So why did you put him up there? Well, he found out he got triple life. His whole demeanor changed. I happened to be a movement officer one day, and I went up on that floor, and I saw him. Let me go over there and say something to him. He was staring out the fiberglass into the open area. I said, hey, man, I don't want to say what's going on, because, you know what he had going on. I said, man, good to see you. His eyes didn't blink. He didn't even blink. He blinked, but it was like he was gone. He was gone. Mental health issues. See, you never know. Some people claim that they were raped and try to get people in trouble. Some people actually do rape. But it's more of a power move, because with the sex between men, they giving it up. They giving it up. They doing it. It's a joke to some. And on the mental health level, some guys can't handle that. Like seeing it. Yo, SCURV, get me out this cell, man. These dudes they actually be effing each other in the A. Yo, that room be stinking, man. The other COs don't say nothing about it, but I know you can try to help me out. Well, you got to catch them. Because some of the guys that come on to work on their shift, they ain't doing no checks. If y'all want to kill each other, kill each other. That's where they think. But if somebody does that, or there's a rape going on, there's an investigation going on, they're going to pull the cameras, they're going to pull this, the logs, or they're going to get you. Because they're going to know. If somebody hangs himself and they've been hung for 4 hours, and you did your last check, maybe 4.5 hours, but you playing cards and the game is getting good, you got a TV, watching the game or something, this person's hanging. Well, they can check to see the blood, how long, and they can tell how long they've been hanging there. Now you're in trouble. So you better stay on top of everything in your area. You know what I mean? Just be on top of it. Destruction of marriages and partnerships. Incarceration often leads to the breakdown of marriages and partnerships. The strain of separation, coupled with the financial and emotional toll, can lead to divorce or the dissolution of relationships. This breakdown may not only affects the couple, but also the children, of course, who may struggle with feelings of abandonment and insecurity. And there are people who are used to doing this. You have women who they go out to the clubs or they dress a little too sexy, have guys approaching them. And usually it's somebody in the inner circle that knew the dude who's locked up. So what's up, girl? Oh, nothing. Where your man at? He doing time. How much time he's doing? He got at least 10 years, but he's a hothead. I told him don't go in there and get no more time. So you riding with him? Yeah, I'm riding with him. Wait a second. I'm cool with that, but you got anybody holding you down? So what you mean? You got something for me, some money or something? Yeah, I'll throw you a couple bucks. Well, wintertime is coming. It's going to be kind of cold at night. You might want somebody to come over and hold you a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah, I can go with that, but you can't be seen coming out of my place because everybody knows me. Listen, girl, I'm the invisible man if I can get with a lady like you. All of a sudden, the dude's in the jail thinking, well, she's riding with him, but somebody else is mowing the lawn, munching the carpet, and all those good things. So you never know. And the funny thing is, those kind of relationships, they were shallow in the first place for her to be so fast to do that. Because at the same token, there are women who will ride with you if they really, really love you. I've seen guys purposely try to break up the relationship they were in because they didn't want to put their women through that. That's not common, but I've seen that too. And you also find out who your good friends are, especially if you have somebody riding with you. And you don't want to tell your man when he's locked up because all he got to do is just be all bottled up and mad and it builds up over years. You don't want to tell him that. If you're really with a man, hold him down. Hold him down. Get your little battery operated boyfriend, whatever it may be, whatever you're thinking, whatever you're doing, whatever, if you want to hold it down. As long as it's somebody who you know who's going to come out and do the right thing. Don't meet somebody in the club 2 weeks before he's getting locked up and he's going to tell you all this stuff. All he wants is his account to be full with money, his commissary account, and just to make sure to get things for him. And be careful. Increased dependency on government assistance. The economic impact of incarceration often leads families to rely on government assistance to survive. This dependency can perpetuate the cycle of poverty, making it harder for families to break free from economic hardship. The reliance on welfare programs often stigmatizes families, further isolating them from their communities and reducing their chances of upward mobility. Man, see, we don't really think about how many things one has to go through in a family and even the whole community when you get incarcerated and locked up. How to avoid incarceration and build a better future, right? And these are pretty common, and I'm going to go through the title. And I got pretty much a whole lot of them here. Man, a good amount. But the paragraphs are written under them. And I'm going to put this link up in the chat. I'm definitely going to put this up in the description area below, because everything I talk about, I always put on LANCESCURV.com. And, you know, these things scroll down. So if you wait 2 weeks, you can get to it. You're going to have to hit that next button on the bottom. But it'll be prominently displayed as a post on the site. Number 1, education and skill development. I'll read a few of these. One of the most effective ways to avoid incarceration is through education and skill development. By obtaining a solid education and learning valuable skills, Black men can increase their employment opportunities and reduce their likelihood of engaging in criminal behavior. Education not only provides the knowledge needed to succeed, but also instills a sense of purpose and self-worth, which are crucial for staying on the right path. Even if you can't afford to go to a school, if you want to be a mechanic or whatever, you can go to the library, you can get books on this stuff and read it. And once you have enough knowledge, you can step to the person who's a mechanic in your neighborhood and say, hey, I just want to learn by watching you. I'll help you clean up, sweep, get your coffee, whatever. And when you say what your plan is, you get that help. See, oh, man, I can't do that to you. I got to throw you a couple bucks if you in it like that. You come here like a job. I'm not saying I'm hiring you, but you're going to have a little something in your, and you'll have the interest, you know, the experience. Every, and I hate to use the word problem, but I'll use it here. Every problem has a solution. You just might not know it right then and there. If you make a stupid mistake, there's a solution. You have to take and be accountable, but every problem has a solution. That's just the way it is. Positive role models and mentorship. Having positive role models and mentors can significantly reduce the risk of incarceration. Young Black men need guidance from individuals who have successfully navigated. Okay, I messed up and pushed the screen up. Navigated the challenges of life and avoided the pitfalls of criminal behavior. Mentorship programs can provide the support and encouragement needed to make a better life and better life choices and build a brighter future. Strong family support. A strong family support system is essential for staying out of trouble. Families that provide love, guidance, and support can help their members resist the pressures of engaging in criminal activity. A stable home environment where positive values are reinforced is a powerful deterrent to crime and incarceration. Avoiding negative influences. Avoiding negative influences is crucial to staying out of trouble. This includes steering clear of individuals who engage in criminal behavior, staying away from environments where illegal activities take place, and resisting the temptation to get involved in risky situations. Surrounding oneself with positive influences and maintaining healthy relationships is key to avoiding incarceration. Understanding the legal system. Understanding the legal system and one's rights can help prevent unnecessary encounters with law enforcement and reduce the likelihood of incarceration. Knowing how to interact with police, understanding the consequences of certain actions, and being aware of legal rights can empower individuals to make better decisions and protect themselves from unjust treatment. Seeking mental health support. Addressing mental health issues before they escalate can prevent individuals from turning to crime as a coping mechanism. Mental health struggles like depression, anxiety, and trauma are common among those at risk of incarceration. Seeking therapy, counseling, and other mental health support can help individuals maintain their emotions, develop healthy coping strategies, and avoid behaviors that can lead to legal trouble. Early intervention is key to breaking the cycle of crime and incarceration. Engaging in community activities. Being involved in positive community activities such as sports, arts, or volunteer work can provide a constructive outlet for energy and emotions. Community engagement fosters a sense of belonging and purpose, reducing the appeal of criminal activities. It also helps individuals build a supportive network of peers and mentors who encourage positive choices and personal growth. Pursuing employment and entrepreneurship. Gaining stable employment or pursuing entrepreneurship can significantly reduce the risk of incarceration. A steady job provides financial stability and a sense of responsibility, making individuals less likely to engage in criminal activity. For those who struggle to find traditional employment, entrepreneurship can offer an alternative path to success, allowing them to take control of their financial future and avoid illegal activities. Developing financial literacy. Understanding how to manage money effectively can prevent the financial desperation that sometimes leads to crime. Financial literacy programs teach budgeting, saving, investing, and responsible borrowing. By gaining control over their finances, individuals can reduce the likelihood of turning to illegal means to meet their needs, thus lowering their risk of incarceration. Building healthy relationships. Forming healthy, supportive relationships can be a powerful deterrent against criminal behavior. Relationships that are based on mutual respect, trust, and positive communication provide emotional support and guidance, helping individuals navigate life's challenges without resorting to crime. Healthy relationships also encourage accountability and personal growth, which are essential for staying out of trouble. Setting personal goals and aspirations. Having clear, achievable goals can provide direction and motivation to stay on the right path. When individuals have something to strive for, whether it's a career, education, or personal development, they are less likely to engage in behavior that can jeopardize their future. Setting and working toward goals helps build self-esteem and a strong sense of purpose, which are crucial for avoiding incarceration. Understanding the consequences of actions. It's important for individuals to fully understand the legal, social, and personal consequences of their actions. Education on the legal system, awareness of the impact of a criminal record, and knowledge of how a crime affects victims and communities can detour individuals from engaging in illegal activities. Understanding these consequences can encourage more thoughtful decision-making and reduce the likelihood of incarceration. Practicing conflict resolution skills. Learning how to manage conflicts in a nonviolent and constructive manner can prevent situations that might lead to criminal charges. Conflict resolution skills, such as effective communication, negotiation, and empathy, help individuals navigate disputes without resorting to aggression or illegal actions. These skills are essential for maintaining healthy relationships and avoiding confrontation that can result in incarceration. Staying physically active. Regular physical activity is not only beneficial to our physical health, but also for mental and emotional well-being. Exercise can reduce stress, improve mood, and provide a healthy outlet for frustration and anger. By staying physically active, individuals can better maintain their emotions and reduce the risk of engaging in behaviors that can lead to incarceration. Avoiding substance abuse. Substance abuse is a significant risk factor for criminal behavior and incarceration. Avoiding drugs and alcohol or seeking help to overcome addiction is crucial for staying out of trouble. Substance abuse can impair judgment, lead to impulsive decisions, and increase the likelihood of engaging in illegal activities. By maintaining sobriety, individuals can protect themselves from the dangers of incarceration and build a healthier, more stable life. See, I can't believe I got through all these notes, but I did. I know a lot of y'all had to leave. I see that, but this will be a nice long replay. It's something for somebody to listen to really avoid certain situations. So, yeah, what I'm going to do I'm going to sign off soon, but I'm always going to give the opportunity and drop a link. Drop a link right here. Chat room froze up. So I know maybe you'll doze and relaxed or whatever. I don't even know what time it is over here. It's not even late. It's not like it's 2 o'clock over here, 3 o'clock, but it is 11:45. Yes. 15 minutes short of a 3-hour show. So I know I'm not going to have a voice when I wake up, but it's okay. I wanted to get through this because you just never know. Somebody might run across this information. This is nothing that nobody here did not know. I spiced it up with a couple stories. But sometimes it needs to be put down in one package. But somebody say, hey, man, not even the whole thing. Listen to the 3 hour or the 1 hour and 33-minute mark. Might be something I said. We can have conversations on that, or maybe it'll stoke conversations with other people. You never know. When you put something out to the universe and it's good intentions, you just don't know. Well, listen, I know everybody's probably relaxed and chilling and all that stuff. And I'm going to reach out to Tracy J. We're going to have a very much interactive show. Probably tomorrow we'll see. I just have to make sure and confirm and get the title and all of this good stuff. You see, so I'm going to sign off, y'all. I'm going to sign off, and I hope somebody got some information out of this. And I know it was a bit long, but like I said, sometimes I will surprise you and bust out with some long ones. That's the main deal. Anyway, I'm going to sign off. Much love to you all. LANCESCURV out. And we'll be back tomorrow at the same time. You know, and I'm going to have some things to get up and go to do. But I never rushed this show, so I took my time with it. So I'm going to have a good night's sleep. I did today's work, and I'm very happy about that. I'm just very happy that you all came by, and we're going to keep on doing it like this, and even better. When that Starlink comes, oh boy, unlimited internet, boy, we're going to get it. We're going to get that work in. Anyway, take care, y'all. Much love. I'll see you tomorrow night. Hit me up anytime. Any topic you want to talk about. Like I said, I will talk about anything. I'm not afraid of any topic. No matter how taboo it is, SCURV got something to say about it. For real, for real. Much love, y'all. Take care. Have a good night. Peace.
I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I'm tryna do more for the soul, way less for the bread. Yes sir. I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I see the things that they do way less than they said. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Can't be a real, might get you canceled. The whole system need to dismantle. Copper treated like the utmost wanted. Tryna rule the block but don't know what goes on it. News got a story with a new take on me. Carrying out the window with the screw face on me. But I know that God love me when my burn 95 degrees and I can't get sunburn. Wonder when your government don't make me legal. Burn the whole city if I can't be equal. Get off my please, Brad, I earned that. 400 years, how you still ain't learned that? I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I'm tryna do more for the soul, way less for the bread. Yes sir. I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I see the things that they do way less than they said. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Shout out to the trying to gentrify the genre. Tell them free my middle finger to your honor. End of days coming down to seconds on the timer. Goofy still trying to purchase that designer. About to buy learn to grow my own food. Cause I don't like the look they give me in the Whole Foods. And when you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. But it ain't on me now, I'm limping cause my heavy. But ain't sweet, think we thin. My whole attitude on MC Ren. It's my neighborhood now, Bob, I bought that. 400 years, how you still ain't caught that? I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I'm tryna do more for the soul, way less for the bread. Yes sir, I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I see the things that they do way less than they said. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside.